not want to play them for me. So we're going to go without sound on these. Energy storage, batteries. But what I want to jump into first is a common question. And as you all start talking to customers about solar, you will hear it. You will probably hear it very often. And this is it. Solar will power my house when the power goes out, right? Or when the grid goes down, or when TEP or whatever your utility company goes out, right? And the answer is no, unfortunately. It's a very common misconception. You know, a lot of people think that, yeah, once you have solar, you've got your own power supply. There's a lot of different safety factors. Chris talked about some of them yesterday with interconnecting into the grid and backfeeding power. Again, we don't want to get too technical, and nor should you have to necessarily get too technical with homeowners when you're talking them through a pitch, but you need a way for the house to be disconnected from the grid if the grid goes out, because you never want to have a time when you're backfeeding power. Or otherwise stated, say it's sunny out, you're not home, your system's making power, but for some reason the grid's down. You know, if you're not using power, all that solar power is going to go back into the grid and potentially electrocute a line worker. And so, you know, this is where all solar systems, unless they have some sort of backup power, energy storage, a battery, right? They all have to turn off when the grid goes down. It'll automatically do it unless you have battery backup. So I was even talking with a new candidate today for, you know, a solar consultant role in a different market that we've got, that he said, yeah, he had bought a solar system for his home in New York a few years ago, and the sales rep just led him on, made him believe that it would work when the grid went down, and it didn't. He was upset. Power went out. He didn't have power. He's like, what is going on? My salesperson told me. And that's the problem we're here to solve today, is my salesperson told me. And so this is why we do these trainings. This is why we want to make sure that you're set up well to be able to talk through these things and have it at your disposal. Not necessarily that you need to talk about it every time, but that you know what you're talking about should the question come up. So again, if the grid goes down, do you have power with a solar only system? The answer is no. So introduce battery storage. And, you know, I'm in California. You know, we've had various fires. You know, utility companies are cutting off power because of fire danger. You know, obviously, you can have storms where power goes out, but we're seeing it a lot here. You know, a lot of folks are really starting to look more and more at battery backup. But, you know, as this animation shows, you know, during the day, your solar system is making power, and you're going to use some of that power, like we've seen in days prior. But, you know, any excess electricity from the solar system is going to charge your batteries up. And there's different ways you could use the batteries. We can get into that in a little bit. But, you know, the main idea being is if you're buying solar panels and batteries, you could use your solar panels to charge those batteries up. And so, you know, truly then could you have an off-grid type of moment. And you'll hear people talking about how they want to go off-grid. You never truly can go off-grid unless you've got like some small hunting cabin in the middle of Alaska or something like that. But for the customers we'll be talking to, they're all grid tied, so they all are connected to the utility, but they could still have batteries. They could still island themselves from the grid should the power go down. And so here, you know, there's a note about time of use charges. You know, there's another, that's just another way to use a battery as well. And so I've been talking about backup power, but avoiding time of use charges or peak times of day. So, you know, afternoon is when the utility normally charges a lot for electricity. And, you know, if you have solar panels, you can avoid some of that, but you can't control when those produce power. It's just, you know, if we remember from Chris's earlier module yesterday, where we're just talking about azimuth, right? Like if you have panels facing to the east, those are facing toward morning sun, right? You're making solar power in the morning. Same with the west, you're making power in the evening. But if you have a battery, you can control when you've got power feeding into your home just on the battery controls here. So it works out nicely. I'm going to pause 1 second and close my door because I've got a loud child coming in here. Apologies for that. So again, we could use a battery backup for, a time when the grid goes down. We could use a battery to give us power, like say in the evening when the sun's starting to go down. We could use our battery to fill in on peak times of day, so that way we're avoiding what would have been a very expensive time from the utility. If I charge those batteries from the solar system, that power is a lot cheaper than than what the utility is charging for that electricity. Does this concept make sense for folks, or people understanding it from a high level so far? If no answer, I will assume yes, but definitely feel free to throw questions in the chat if you've got any. So what is a battery? What is a solar battery? What is energy storage? What is backup, right? There's a lot of different ways that batteries get talked about. Often people just reference them as batteries or backup batteries, but what is it? I think a lot of us have seen these on the side of homes. These are various models of battery, with probably the most popular on the right there, the Tesla Powerwall. But again, a battery is a device that's going to take power, whether it's getting power from our solar system or pulling a little bit from the utility grid to charge, but it's having a power reserve, so that way, if the grid goes down, we've got some backup power. If I want to use it to discharge or feed power into my home during an expensive time of day, I've got that. So that works out well, and again, it gets homeowners more energy independence, right? They control their power production, they control their backup power. So more often, a lot of folks again are looking at it as backup power for peace of mind, right? I don't want my wife and kids to be in the dark if the power goes out. I don't want all the food in my fridge to go bad if the grid goes down, things like that. So you'll get questions about it. We offer multiple batteries. Again, the most common is the Tesla Powerwall. We offer it. We're authorized to be able to do these, and we've got great pricing to be able to include those in systems if you want to. And we've got financing for them. It can be rolled into a solar loan as well. So we've got zero down solar plus energy storage for you at your fingertips once you're ready to get out there and sell. So how do they work? We'll just look at the picture and say, ooh and ah, it's kind of cool. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty science of it. It's generally irrelevant for homeowners, but what we're doing is charging or discharging a battery. And even within a Tesla Powerwall, there are many little little battery cells within that box that goes on the outside of the house or in the garage. But you do have to think about charging those batteries. And again, these are lithium ion batteries. We think about safety. We make sure that all this is done. But usually where this will come up is your homeowners may have questions about, like, yeah, I want backup power, but are these things safe, right? I'm worried about this. And how they're set up, these can handle very high temperature differentials. They're safe. Obviously, you're not going to crash your house like you may a car, but we make sure, and our engineering teams make sure that these get installed to code in a way that's going to be safe and ensure that these are okay. But if customers have questions about the technology, again, it's lithium ion, just like is in your cell phone and the computer we're looking at here, in your electric vehicles, things like that. So very standard technology, very generally safe technology in this use case. One comparison we like to look at too is, again, a lot of these batteries are lithium ion, but folks may have concerns about lead acid batteries, and these are like old car batteries or golf cart batteries or what have you, where those are the ones that you have to go open them up and mess with the electrolyte levels and do all this stuff. And it's pretty dangerous. They need to be vented. That technology no longer is mainstream for what we're doing. We do not offer lead acid batteries. So all we have are fully encapsulated, enclosed lithium ion battery units that are safe and require no homeowner maintenance for that. So other benefit too is they charge quickly, they hold a longer charge, they can discharge deeper, they'll hold a charge if they're not used. So a lot of, if somebody's had an old school home built system, battery backup system on their hunting shed from 30 years ago, it probably had lead acid batteries. They probably had a lot of issues with it. These are pretty easy going, and just makes for a durable system that a homeowner can get a lot of use out of. Also on the automation front, they all come with an app. And so a homeowner can control things or get a sense of state of charge, things like that. So it just makes it really easy for your homeowner, again, to get their backup concern addressed, or the ability to avoid those really expensive peak times of day, typically in the afternoon. So shifting gears slightly, and again, this is likely something you probably won't have to get into with your homeowner, but there are two different ways of coupling a battery system to a home. AC coupled, as we're seeing here, or DC coupled. And so if we all think back to Chris's module earlier this week, he talked about AC electricity and DC electricity. And with solar, we've got to deal with both, because again, as we see on the left here, and as a reminder from Chris's conversation, the electricity generated by the solar panel is DC. It's direct current electricity. And so we remember that we have an inverter on our system to be able to convert it to AC, or alternating current electricity. And that's what our homes use, right? That's what's coming from the grid. That's what all of our stuff gets plugged in with. And so the AC coupled system is one where the battery is going to receive the battery is still direct current, but it's going to have its own inverter on it as well. So it's not feeding power directly from the solar panels. It's feeding power after the inverter and after that conversion has happened. So again, we've got solar panels on the roof. They feed power down to the inverter, and then that AC power coming out, that could flow into the home, that could flow into the grid, that could flow into the battery. But if it did, it had to be converted again. So there's a little bit of a line loss there, but it's easier to retrofit these, like on an existing home, or even a home that had solar panels, or even potentially a home that does not have solar panels. So this would be like your Tesla Powerwall, for example. And then here's just another little graphic that explains what I was saying. So number one, of course, is our solar panels. Number two is our inverter. So we've got DC power from the panels into the inverter, gets converted to AC, and then, again, could go into the home, could go back into the utility grid, or could be converted again back to DC into those batteries if need be. DC coupling is going to have the battery on the solar side of the circuit. So before that power goes into the inverter, solar panels can feed into the inverter or they can feed into the battery. And so, this one, has to be, it's tougher to retrofit. We don't use as many DC coupled systems either. They've got some other inherent drawbacks to them. So most folks are going to have a Tesla Powerwall. Most folks by that token would have an AC coupled system. But again, probably 99.9% of your customers won't know this. They won't ask it. They won't they won't find it. But again, it's one of those things to have in the back of your mind that if it comes up, you could know what you're talking about, or you know it exists. Again, you are a trustworthy resource so that you can understand the technology that you're selling. But as we've said earlier this week, if you're in a home and you've got that crazy engineer, an electrical engineer that's trying to beat you up on all the questions, phone a friend. We can we can help you out. We'll make sure that you're not getting swarmed with all the crazy questions, and we'll get all the nitty-gritty details covered. But again, most people won't go down this road. Most people are just going to want to know, wait, I have solar, I have backup power. No, you need a battery. Okay, I want a battery. How much? Okay, I can afford that. Great, let's roll it into the financing. That's generally the extent that you'd need to go to. But one very important point that you will want to bring up every single time you're talking about batteries is, I'm going to highlight in the middle, where I'm circling with my mouse, this dedicated load center is another common question when we're talking batteries comes up of like, oh, cool. Well, now that I have a battery, I can run my whole house because it's hooked into the electrical system, right? No, unfortunately. But you could put an asterisk next to that, because feasibly you could run everything, but then oftentimes you would need very mini batteries hooked in, because again, as Chris has talked about earlier in this week, different items in the home use different amounts of electricity. And some items, like I have an electric clothes dryer in the other room. That uses a lot of amperage. It's a big power draw. And a single battery cannot run that much juice through it. You could hook many batteries together, and there's different ways of doing it to where you could have mini batteries that give you a really long runtime, or you can have mini batteries that give you shorter runtime but able to push big power draws through. But again, for someone to be able to run their air conditioning, to run heavy electrical loads, they will need often multiple 3, 4, 5 Tesla Powerwalls, and at that point you're looking at $60,000 or $70,000 in just batteries, right? So you start to talk about that and it's like, oh, well, never mind. But what you do want to talk about here is this dedicated load center. And if we're talking batteries, we need to talk about dedicated loads, or I also like to call it critical loads. So thinking about that power outage scenarios, what are the critical things I have to have? What are the critical things I want automatically powered if the grid goes down? Like for me, that'd be the fridge, right? That's kind of first thing. I want a few lights so that everything doesn't go dark on me. I want a few outlets so I could charge a computer, a phone, what have you. And that's generally the extent, because again, if I run a bunch of stuff on my battery, it's going to discharge quickly. And so I want to kind of go on reserve mode, have a few things, but know I've got the basics covered. And that way I can run that for a long time. And again, these are hooked into the solar system. So next day when the sun comes up, my battery can charge up even if the grid goes down. I'm my own little island here. My home has automatically disconnected from the grid, and my solar panels can charge my battery back up. So this way you could be self-sustaining. If the grid goes down, like, a year ago in Texas, they got that crazy winter storm, power was down for a week. If you had solar with a battery, you could feasibly sustain yourself. Charge your battery during the day, use your power at night, fridge stays running, outlets stay running, my lights are on, I'm reasonably comfortable, right? Better than if I didn't have a battery. So think about the dedicated load center. Think about that conversation of, what are the few things you have to have if the grid goes down? And it's probably those basics. It's something, if we needed to get a deeper conversation with a homeowner, we could, but it's something you want to bring up, because the last thing we want is, I have a battery and I can't run my air conditioning. It's like, of course you can't. You never were able to. So you want to be able to have the conversation of what's kind of the bare minimum you want to run with that battery, so you have that backup capacity. And again, this is another good point too. Chris and I are going to stress note taking a lot, and here's a good case where take some notes. Your customer is telling you, like, oh yeah, last time the power went out, I lost $500 worth of food in the fridge because it cut out. It's like, okay, well, they want the fridge powered. What else do you want powered? Oh, I want the kitchen outlets powered. Okay, what else? The lights. What else? The air conditioner. No, we can't do that. But if you're scared to have that conversation of, we can do this, we cannot do that, take some notes on what they want, bring them back to us. We can look at it. We can get our engineers to look at it and call a customer. It's like, hey, we'll look at it. We'll let you know what you can and can't. If we can get all of it, great. If not, we'll just tell you what you can without having to buy multiple batteries, right? And so if in doubt, ask the question. Please always take notes, and we'll make sure that your customer gets the best experience possible. This revisits what we were talking about, but this was a nice infographic put together to be able to show. Again, at the top, we've got solar panels, of course, they're making electricity. It's going straight into the inverter. And then, in this case, we're going through that essential loads panel. It can go into the home, it can go into the battery. This is an AC coupled system. So within the battery is another inverter. That's a power wall. So it's got its own inversion capability, but that power can go into the home, into the electric panel, into the grid. But if we look at the green check mark on the right at that utility pole, this is a case where the grid is up, the grid is normal. And so we could charge our battery, we could use our battery, everything looks normal, we can feed power back into the grid, right? But if the grid goes down, we're islanded at that point. Our meter is blocked off. There's an automatic transfer switch. Actually, if we look on that backup gateway, I'm gonna go back. You see how the line's gone through on the backup gateway here. That's running through, right? The grid is open, but if the grid goes down, that clicks open or clicks off, and to where now we can't ever feed power back into the grid. It's just in the house. So we got our panels, we could feed into our battery, we could feed into the house, but we're islanded at this point. So we've got our fridge on, we've got our lights on, we've got our critical circuits are running at this point. So this is what most people are looking for. Again, if we think back to the beginning of this, of the question that I had posed of like, hey, I've got power when the grid goes down because I have solar, right? No, but if you do this with a battery, you do have power then. Steve, you raised a hand.
Yes, I did. So how do you dedicate that? You just wired the circuits or fuses in the power box to make sure? Okay, I just want to clarify that.
Exactly, yeah. And so what would happen is, actually look behind me. I've got my breaker panel right here. And so when the installer shows up, this is another case where we want those circuits written down. We want the notes on there. If customer wants the fridge, they want some kitchen outlets, they want the kitchen lights and bedroom lights, whatever, right? But if we have those written down, we can have these set for our installation team. And they'll literally do just that, is they'll pull those circuits out of the panel behind me, and they'll route it through into the essential loads panel and then back into the main panel. And so that way, through this backup gateway, you have those circuits covered, either way. But our team will do that, naturally with the installation. That's all included as standard in a battery package. And so what we'll have is the pricing that's shown on our proposals that we can give out. That's the pricing to do all this work. And so you wouldn't have to add in extra little nitpicky things. This is a part of the battery installation to have all those details covered. Again, another little infographic to show, if we don't have grid power, we do, what's going on and how things can switch, either on or off automatically. But that's probably the critical thing for your homeowner, is it'll work automatically for them. They don't have to go flip a switch in the house. They don't have to toggle something. It'll do what it needs to do. And so, we'd like to just touch on some final benefits, and then we'll get into more of the Q&A. So again, this will give our customer the electricity they want when the sun goes down, if the grid is down, right? So that question they'll probably ask, this will cover that for. Again, they've got the relief from power outages. They've got, any excess electricity generation they can feed into the battery and have that utilize it for, that time of use billing as well. So lots of benefits from a battery, and again, the primary one is going to be for that backup power desire that homeowners have. And so this will wrap up this particular module here. Any other questions from the group or thoughts, or was this helpful?
Yeah, it was really helpful. It's pretty simple. Thanks.
Great. Very good. Well, Chris, I'm going to pass the baton. I think everybody can hear the background here, so I'm going to go address that situation, but I'll be back in a second. But Chris, I will hand this over to you. Lastly, any other questions about batteries? Or again, feel free to throw them in the chat if you don't want to jump in with everybody, and we'll make sure that those get answered. I'll stop this share for you. Chris, I can't hear you.
Give me about a 5-minute break. So go ahead and take a 5-minute bathroom break. I'm wrapping up with tech support right now to get the website up and running. So give me just 5 minutes, and then we'll get back and go into training. So be right back.
Thanks, everybody.
Aren't you gonna have a meeting this week at the Bartlett people?
All right, as you guys come back, give me a thumbs up, a chat, wave, say howdy. Something to let me know you're back.
We're back.
Hey, Chris.
What's up?
I am back.
We are up and running. Website's back up. Push
Nice.
the server. So we're showing unsecured at the moment, which is fine. In 5 hours, the SSL certificate will attach, and then we won't have that issue. So technical issues. It'll be forwarding. It's still gonna say Solar Panel Pro on top. I think we're just gonna keep it that way until they figure out what the server issue was that made it crash the first time. But it's gonna say you can still type in Titan Solar Panel Pro and it'll still land on Solar Panel Pro. You can type in TitanSPP.com, it'll still land. Titan Solarpower.pro, it'll still land. So we got that taken care of. There's no issues. It'll take like an hour or two for everything to like sync up. So if you try to go to the website earlier today, you have to give your website like an hour or two to cache now that this is actually working, and you'll actually see it pop up on the website. You guys will be able to go put your headshots on there, your mug shots, and you're good to go. I am excited. I am happy. And that was 5 minutes. I'm going to get started. Let's do this. Let's rock and roll. Let's have a fantastic training. Let's learn a lot. Did you guys learn a lot from Brian?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, extremely intelligent guy. I love working with him. He provides a lot of value to the organization itself. And when it comes to battery storage, when it comes to a lot of the technical stuff, he's going to be able to help you a lot more than I will. I'm that type of person. I know how it works. Can I teach you how it works? No, there's a little bit too much technical stuff in there. I try to dumb it down a little bit too much sometimes, but that's what we got to do for our customers. So I will teach you. I will teach you some of this stuff on, how to dumb it down even dumber than he did, so that I would understand it as if you were talking to me a normal conversation, right? Pretty much everything there that he was talking about, exactly on point. Just make sure you're putting in the notes. You have a conversation with the customer, you're inside of you're doing a proposal, you're having that conversation with them, and they say, you know what, I do think I want to look into batteries. Everybody's been quoting me batteries. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and look at that. Let me go ahead and get that quote ran for you on that. So tell me a little bit about what are your goals with the batteries? Do you have medical equipment in the house that you're trying to keep on? Is it because you work from home, you don't want your computer to shut down? Are you trying to keep the AC running? Are you trying to keep the food cold? Tell me what you need the batteries, like what is your idea of having a battery? Well, I just want the whole house to run like normal. Okay, great. So what we know about batteries is pretty simple, that one battery doesn't have the right capacity to be able to turn on large appliances because of the voltage, the amperage, because of all the different things that make wattage, right? It doesn't have the right capacity in order to turn on your air conditioning and run your fridge and do this. Can it turn it on once? Yeah. Will it keep it running for a while? Absolutely not. So we may need multiple batteries if we're trying to do multiple things. So let's bear it down to the bare minimum. If cost is not an issue, then I can put the proper amount on. I just need to figure out what it is. And then you start taking the notes, sending it up, sending it back, letting your manager know, like, hey, I need this updated right now. You can shoot them a text. They will push it to get it done extremely quickly. And all the information will be outlined right in the proposal. You guys will be seeing a proposal tomorrow. We will be running through a proposal tomorrow briefly after going over the sales strategy and how to do that. Today, you guys are going to get your certification in being able to set appointments. You're going to learn about canvassing, how to set appointments. You guys will get access to your app and all that other great stuff, so that you can start jumping in there. There are training videos that are in there and how to get started. I would rather run through that with you guys. So we're going to take a few minutes. I'm going to screen share off my phone to show you guys how to do that. But if you need that extra stuff, feel free to hop into the learning center that's in there on how to use the app. Without further ado, I want to finish up this training module, get to the appointment section, and get you guys done by 8 o'clock while still having time to show you guys how to use the app, get you guys signed up for your Solar Panel Pro emails, and get you guys up for the app. So any questions before we move forward? I think we're great. All right. So first thing I promised that we're gonna learn how to do today when I was talking, and it actually was gonna be the first thing we're gonna do, but I wanted to make sure I finished up the website stuff so that you guys had access back in there so that you guys can show people that you are certified or that you are being certified and you're in training when you're setting your appointments for this weekend. If you are going to be canvassing, you have the authority to go out there and do that tomorrow. You guys will learn the basics on what to do today and you'll have the app to be able to do it. If you're setting up funnels, you'll have basic information on how to do some of that stuff today. If you're doing, if you're lead genning through referral sources and you're networking and in your own personal network, you'll have the access in the app to be able to jump in that. So you guys will be fully authorized to be able to start setting appointments. You cannot run an appointment until Saturday. Saturday is the absolute soonest that you can run an appointment. So let's get started on that. And system sizing. This is how we size the systems. We got to make sure that they're sized correctly. And we do this with a lot of math. So last part in the solar definitions, or what are we at? Solar overview that we're learning is the actual formula. You guys don't have to do this. I'm going to run through it quickly because I want you guys to understand just the basic of what we do before we get into the actual in-depth side of it. Okay. Again, you're never going to have to do this. Okay. We don't want you doing this. We don't want you looking at a bill and building out a system and then giving a quote based off of that, because once again, there's still factors that go under the roof. There's still the azimuth. There's still the tilt. You might think you know the factor. You're going to be completely off like 90% of the time. This is why we have the tools we do, and solar has become more of a precise science. And it used to be a guessing game. When we're looking at a satellite image, we had maybe a basic CAD drawing, but we couldn't see the sunspot. We couldn't see sunlight hours on the roof. We didn't have all the data that we do now for national and global sunlight hours in a territory. So, excuse me. So the reason why we teach this to you is because we talked about during the virtual interview, a very simple fact. A confident consultant delivers confident information and confident buyers buy quicker, right? You will be confident in what we're doing on the back end because you're going to see about 10% of what we're doing in order to size the system. The 90 other percent, you guys don't ever need to worry about. You know, we're doing a lot of other stuff on the back end. We're working with the tilt, we're working with the azimuth. You see all that stuff. But here's the math part of it that you guys aren't typically going to see. So first thing we have to get is the annual kilowatt hours. So if we remember what we're being billed in is kilowatt hours. We have to divide that by the peak sun hours, and that's going to give us our system size. So that's step one to sizing the system. All right. So let's have a suggested little scenario here. 14,500 kilowatt hours. And let's say we're in an area where the peak sunlight hours are going to be somewhere between a 1.7 yield and a 1.75. So we're going to go with the bare minimum on this one and do a 1.7. That's going to give us an 8,529 watt system. Bonus points. Who can tell me what that is in kilowatts?
1.4. Is that divided?
Divided by 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8.5.
8.529. So 8.5 kilowatt system, right? So whatever it is, change the comma to a dot. It's that simple. So let's go back to, I think it was 4th grade. My son's learning it right now. When we multiply by hundreds, when we multiply with zeros at the end of it, it's just moving the decimal 1, right? When we divide, it's moving the decimal 1. So if we're multiplying by 1,000, the decimals here, we're going to move it over 1, 2, 3. That's going to give us 8.52. If we're at 8.52, 1, 2, 3 on a times, we give us 8,529. Does that make sense? Yes.
Yes.
Second part of the formula, we need to figure out the number of panels. So we're going to take the system size and we're going to divide that by the panel wattage. That's going to give us the number of panels that we're going to use on the house. So we have the 8.529 kilowatt system or 8,529 watt system divided a 350 watt panel. If it's 350 watt, who can tell me what kind of panel that may be? There's 2 types.
The mono?
Mono, perfect. A monocrystalline panel is typically going to be over 300 watts. where polycrystalline panels are typically going to be below or up to 325 is nowadays the average, between 290 and 325. Okay. So in this case, we need 34.116. We want to offset the system as much as possible because of DG export. You guys remember hearing that? We want to be over 100 or under 100. Who's got the answer?
Over 100.
Over 100. So if I round down, am I going to be over or under 100?
Under.
Under, right? Here's the reason why. We need over 34 panels in order to be able to get 100% offset. The offset is the offset of electricity that the customer is going to be using from the utility company. So if we have an 80-20% offset, they're going to be using 80% solar power and 20% utility. If we have 100% offset, that means that we're going to be producing 100% of the utility that we're projecting at 14,500 kilowatt hours. So if we need 34 point anything, that means we need a fraction of a panel. So if we round down, we're under 100%. Okay. So what we're going to do is round up. Round up the number of panels times the wattage is going to give us the true system size. So the system size for customer Tony Stark is going to be 25 panels instead of 24 times 350 watts is going to be 8.5 or 8.750 watts or 8,750 watts or 8.75 kilowatt system.
Mhm.
Is everybody tracking? I just saw a typo in there. I did see a typo in there.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is it? Should be 35. Yeah, maybe this one. No, we're right. 25. Everybody tracking on this so far? If you're not, I understand. Stop me, ask me the question. There is no dumb question. I will repeat all this one because this one actually, I want you guys to know, but I don't want you guys to do. You guys know the difference between that? So who needs me to stop and pause and restart some of this stuff? I'm good with it. Nobody. Fantastic. Again, your manager's there. They can re-show you this stuff. Okay. So back up until this point, I do want to show you guys again. Remember, it's annual kilowatt hours times the peak watt hours. So if we're looking at a 1,500 kilowatt hour in 1 month, 900, we're adding all those up to get the exact. We're getting the peak sunlight hours. We're dividing it. That gives us the system size that we would need to get 100% offset. System size divided by the panels equals the number of panels we need, which in this case would be 24.166. We round up the system. That's going to be true system size times the wattage is going to be 25 panels times 350 watts is an 8.7 kilowatt system, or multiply that by 1,000 to get watts, 8,750 watt system. If you get an 8.75 watt system, you're going to multiply that by 0.40 to get your guys' commission with the 10-cent hold. To get your upfront commissions, you're going to be going 0.30 or 0.30. And you're going to get your 30% off of that off the upfront and the remainder on the back end. So let's just go ahead and do a sidebar on here. So 8,750 watts times 0.3 equals $2,600 on that commission, $2,625. I'm going to divide that by 0.3. That gives you, whoops, times that by 0.3. $787.50 will be your upfront on that one the following Friday, which means so 786. You get $1,839 when the system installs in about 4 to 6 weeks. Here's the beauty of this right now. Because we are fast track, you know within 1 week when that system's installing, so you know the following Friday you're going to get your check. You can start counting those days. It's pretty freaking awesome. You can ask anybody who's been in the solar industry and has done this for a while. They have no idea when they're getting their next check. We do. System size times peak sunlight hours equals produced kilowatt hours divided by required kilowatt hours. We're going into algebra now, okay? We want to equal that offset, remember? So we're going to get to our system size. We're going to multiply that. All we're doing is we're taking the division that we did prior, we're reversing the order. We want to know how much the system is going to produce kilowatt hours. So we have to get the yield and we have to figure out what the peak sunlight hours are again and multiply it. And then we have to get the production of it, which is going to give us the required kilowatt hours, going to give us the offset. A lot of different words. We're just going to put the numbers together. Again, are you guys going to do this real quick? I want everybody to unmute themselves. Are you guys actually going to do this?
No.
No.
No. All right.
No.
So do you need to actually understand this 100%? Yes or no?
No.
Oh, great. So
Great.
don't feel bad if you don't understand it. If you didn't have a good time in algebra, it's okay. We do it for you. All you have to do is show the customer the end result.
Perfect.
We're
'cause
gonna put it to our system. So our system size we know is 8.75. I know my peak sunlight hours are 1.7. I'm going to multiply those together and I'm going to get 1,487. I'm going to divide that by 14,500, which is what the customer uses annually. I'm going to be producing with my system 2% more than what the customer needed on an annual basis to cover the utility they've used for the last 12 months. So even if you don't understand the full math, do you guys understand that this is how we get to this point?
Yes.
Cool.
Um,
Here's what it looks like.
no.
So here's a copy of it. It's an older proposal. I'm going to be updating it with the new ones that we just got. But this is how it's going to be explained to a customer. Mr. Customer, check this out. You're at $146 a month on average for your electric. That means that your bill in 30 years is going to be $418. I didn't make that number up. In the United States, we have what's called inflation. If you're not familiar with that term, just look at the price of gas over the course of the last of the year. We've gone up by over 7.5%, which is historically high. Well, look at a can of corn over the last year. Look at a can of corn over the last 20 years. I remember when a can of corn cost, I'm going to age myself a little bit. I remember when a can of corn cost 25 cents. A can of corn now costs $1.99. That's the rate of inflation over the course of time. Now, if you've lived in this house for, you're going to have some people who live in houses for years and years and years. I sat with a customer. It's just one that pops out in my head. I can't remember their name, but I remember that they had kids and they're all gone, right? They've all moved out of the house. They're living their old lives. They're all adults now. Fantastic. Great. Well, that's actually the same as what I paid about 20 years ago. I don't think my bill went up. Okay. You said you had about 5 kids? Yeah. So 5 kids 20 years ago used a lot more power, do you think, than you use now? More AC, keeping the doors open, running out of the house, opening the fridge more often, getting their snacks, having their friends come over, playing video games, watching TV. Do you think you use more power then than you do now? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So you use more power, but your bill's the same as it was back then. Do you see how that mind trick can kind of mess somebody up into thinking that their bill never increased? It's crazy to think that way, but it's true. Think about what you used to do versus what you're doing now. It's absolutely insane. If you've lived in that house for a period of time and you've used the same amount of electricity, this is what we're going to be talking about. If you didn't change your lifestyle at all, if you didn't get an electric car, if you didn't get a new TV, if you didn't put in a game room, you didn't put in, you didn't get new computers, you didn't put in that hot tub you're looking for, you didn't put in that pool that you want, you didn't do anything different with your electricity. In 20 or 30 years, you're going to be spending $418 a month for the same amount of usage you're using today. Think about that for a second. That's $93,000 over the course of 30 years. You're going to spend renting your electricity from the utility company. Now, would most people consider that a good investment or a bad investment? Well, everybody I've ever sat down with told me this is kind of a bad investment. We are renting our power. It's not a bill that we can turn off. Federal law says a home without power is not habitable. So even if you wanted to shut off your power tomorrow, you're like, I don't need them. Your home can be condemned. So can you stop paying this bill today? Yes or no? No, we can't. Unfortunately, it's something that we can't get rid of. We can make lifestyle changes and unfortunately not be as comfortable as we like to, But by making the lifestyle changes, now what are we doing to our quality of life? Might be lowering our bill, but what's going to happen to the quality of life? You get home from a long day of work and you're in a house that's at 85 degrees versus 75 is what you like. So this is what solar is trying to solve. Nationally, it's 3.69% annual increase average across the United States. So Arizona has one of the worst increases. Back in 2016, the utility companies were given permission to increase annual utilities by up to $8.90 per month on average. We have seen this increase hit since 2020 drastically. They claim historically that they only increased their utility bills by 1%. Well, that's going to be the original charge. The other one doesn't get regulated by the utility companies. That's the one that they increase like crazy. They also aren't regulated on the peak hour charges or on the seasonal charges that they charge. They're not regulated on the distribution. They're only regulated on the transmission. All utility companies are basically the same way. Texas has an annual increase of roughly between 8 to 12%, depending on the year. California is somewhere up to 14% at times. New Mexico, not that bad, around 6 to 7%. You look at New Jersey, 14% annual increases. These are drastic increases on your electric bill. Sometimes they hit the first year, sometimes they hit 3 years later. They do change every single year. So what we're looking to do is kind of wishing what we could have done with gas. So think about gas back in 2020. We used to say back in 1990. Now all we have to do is go back 2 years. We can all remember 2 years ago, right? It's like 5 minutes ago. How much was gas in 20? I'm going to let you guys answer this question. How much was gas in 2020 on average around the country? Does anybody know the average price of gas?
Pump.
About $2.20. Average price of gas in the United States right now, $4. Some territories is up to $5 right now. If you could have locked in your price of gas 2 years ago, even if you didn't save a penny on your gas, how happy would you be right now? Would you have considered that a good investment or a bad investment?
Great investment.
Great
Amazing.
investment, right? Let me show you something. This is your system. So we're looking at an 8.5 kilowatt system. You used 1,300 or 13,396 kilowatt hours. We need to try to get rid of as much of that as possible. So this system is actually going to produce 13,814 kilowatt hours for you the first year. We're going to use, in this case, it was 27 Longi panels. This is like a 4-year-old proposal, guys, just so you know. This is 27 Longi solar panels, 315 watts. They say M on the back of it. The reason why it says M is because there's 2 types of panels. We have monocrystalline panels and we have polycrystalline panels. Polycrystalline panels are typically blue. They have that bluish hue. The problem is they're not very effective in heat, and they actually aren't effective at all when it comes to colder weathers or sub-zero temperature weathers. Monocrystalline panels are a single crystalline cell. That means it's made out of 1 cell. So poly means many, mono means single. They're better efficiencies. They're 23% efficiency compared to 19, and you're looking at roughly a 10% difference in the heat coefficients, which means you can get up to 110 degrees without seeing much loss in your panels when you need them the most in the summer when you want to turn your AC on. This number means, do I want to lower my AC more and be more comfortable, or am I comfortable using the same amount of electricity last year and moving forward? So I'm going to pose that question. Do you want to say, do you want to be more comfortable in the house? Are you happy with what you use, or do you plan on are you planning on using more electricity over the course of the next several years? This is where you can start asking the customer, do you want to build a swimming pool? Do you want to build a hot tub? Do you want to get an electric car? Are you wanting new computer systems? Are you wanting a gaming rig? Do you have a kid on the way? Do you plan on having more people move in? Do you have plan on having people move out, right? Do we need to adjust this at all? Are you happy with the electricity that you used? Do you want to lower the thermostat another couple degrees? If so, we can add panels to the system and increase this, because what happens is right here is how we offset, okay? Now, this happens through your inverters. We have what's called DG export out here in most territories. So this solar edge inverter is going to convert all the sun power to house power. At this point, I would pull out my happy house. You're going to learn that tomorrow. I'm going to pull out my happy house. So we're going to be gathering bill credit. Now, in order to do that, we have to transfer this power. There's 2 types of inverters out there that are commonly used. We have string inverters and we have micro inverters. Micro inverters are expensive and they go on the back of the panel. You have a ton of them on the house. The problem is they've been nicknamed lightning rods for a reason. So string inverters were more commonly used for a long time. The problem with those is we nicknamed those Christmas lights.
Mhm.
What happens if one Christmas light bulb goes out? What happens to the rest of the lights?
They go out.
They all go out.
Go out, right? That's a problem. The new ones, LEDs, that doesn't happen, right? You just see the one bulb, you can go change it. The rest of your lights are still working. That's because they're not ran in series or ran parallel. They work independently. That's how we want to operate our systems. So what we do is we take the string system, we take all the good from the string systems, and we take all the good from the microinverters, and we put them together. So SolarEdge has these what's called power optimizers. What it does is it conditions the power. It takes that DC power or sun power, it transfers it down to the unit, and it converts it to house power or alternating current. So we want as much sun power as possible transferred down to this thing. So we don't have any losses with that. We have a 99% efficiency with the SolarEdge system. It's absolutely fantastic. Everybody loves it because if one of your panels goes out, it doesn't work like Christmas lights. Only that one panel is affected, which means the rest of your system's still operating at full capacity. So if you had a choice, which would you rather use? Would you rather use the old Christmas lights, a lightning rod, or would you rather have a system like this? Like this one, right? Absolutely. So once that happens, it's going to transfer that power back to the grid. They're going to buy that back in that form of bill credit. Here, where you see these blue bars peaking above the gray, that's all bill credit territory. So if you have a $150 bill credit built up here, and right here you get a $50 bill every single month, well, here you're still positive $100 in your bill credit. You're going to use your bill credit before you have to pay the utility anything. So you get another $50 charge here. Well, you're at a $50 bill credit now because we minused it from 100. Here, you might have 75 bucks. You have $50 in bill credit and $75 bill. How much are you going to pay the utility company?
25.
25 bucks. The next month, you go all the way down here. Now, it rolls over month to month. It doesn't roll over year to year with anybody anymore. Some utilities will cut that back to you in the form of a check. Other utilities will cancel it out, and you start fresh on their fiscal year. That's between October and January. Okay? So our goal is to be able to offset that as much as possible. So if you want to lower your thermostat a couple more degrees, we can get you there. We just need to add a couple extra panels and increase this offset. Most utility companies will buy back your power at 110 to 120% offset. So they will buy back 10% more power than what you actually use, or 20% more power than what you actually use, depending on the territory that you're in and the utility company that you're working with. All right. So we can increase that. It's not a problem. We're going to do over 100% on standard. Most people are happy with it. Some folks that, I want a couple extra panels. I want to lower the thermostat. I'm tired of fighting with my husband about the bill. I'm tired of fighting with my wife about the bill. I want it at 60. She wants it at 80 just so we have a cheap bill. I want to go on vacation this year. Okay, great. I don't want a $700 bill. Great. Let's go ahead and do it. Here's the monthly options. Now, these are way out of date, but just think about it. The reason why I kept this in here was for a reason. 146. The customer's going to be saving $36 a month on average every single month. The most they would see with the utility company, including that forever charge, is $33. This was a 20-year term. We now have up to 30 years on some of our products. But here's where it gets important. Right now, we know on the bill that I showed during orientation that they were paying 23 cents per kilowatt hour. We're only going to be locking you in at that price. We're locking in your 2020 gas prices, and they're never increasing. We're actually giving you a discount on your 2020 gas prices. So you're going to be saving 10 cents, and it's not going to go up. And once your system's paid off, do you ever have a bill again? Nope. You never pay for your solar again. The only time you pay is the utility company if your system isn't producing what you need it to produce in order to cover it. So if you have family coming in from out of town and they use all your power and they're leaving the hair dryers on while you guys go out to lunch and entertain them, but they left the doors open and they lowered the thermostat down to 50, yeah, you're going to get a bill that month. Just because you have solar doesn't mean you can let your neighbors plug the refrigerators into your garage. It's based off of the electricity that you used. With that being said, here's how the system works. It's only $32,526. There's a federal ITC. We're going to get all that later, okay? What's important about that is if they qualify for the ITC and they get that back, they're going to use it as a down payment. They only paid $23,000 for their entire system, which means that their return on investment is 108%. Anything over 10% investment with any type of investment is considered a good investment. So, Steve, you want to tell me what type of investment this one is?
That's a great one.
It's a great one. And that's what we want our customers to say. And then we can move forward to the credit qualification process. This is the end of that part of it. Couple nice little things to go. Why homeowners go solar and why I actually took this from the real estate slide. I'm going to edit a little bit more. I just added it in there. But increased property values, increased purchase. If somebody's planning on selling their house, yes, get solar on it before you sell it, because it'll increase your property value. We actually have a tab now inside of our solar proposal that says what their projected property value increase is going to be. On a 10 kilowatt system that we were looking at, it was like $47,000 property value increase. Homes with purchase solars sell up to 20% faster than homes without solar on them. Up to 50% faster with purchase solar than homes that have lease solar on them. Great value proposition when you're trying to sell it. When you're trying to sell it, you give it to your realtor. It lists better on the MLS. There is no affordability objection when they're trying to buy the house, because now you just wiped out that customer's electric bill, because we'll help them add more panels if it doesn't meet their system size. And it creates urgency because they know it's a 20% faster sale. According to a recent Zillow report, homes with solar panels sell on average 4% more than comparable homes without solar across the United States. A study conducted by the Lawrence Livermore Berkeley Lab also found that homes with solar panels sell faster than those without. A general rule of thumb for the U.S. Department of Energy states that solar electric systems raise homes' property value by $20 for every dollar in savings it earns per year. Isn't that insane, guys? Who doesn't want to go solar? Here is your cheat sheet. Watt, a unit of electrical measurement. Watt times 1,000 is a kilowatt. Kilowatt hours, kWh. That's the energy that's being used. PPK, price per kilowatt. PV system, photovoltaic system, which means solar system. Tilt degree on panels angled 20 degrees is pretty much standard across anywhere that we're using anywhere. It's about 20 degrees is what the standard is. And we tilt them as necessary. We always start at a minimum of 20. Pitch, the customer's roof. 412 is a standard roof. 112 is considered a flat roof. Remember, if it's 1012 or above, that's a steep roof. We can't walk on it. We can't install on it. Azimuth is the direction the panels are facing. Due south is the best for solar. In about 90% of our territories, that's why I kept it in there. It's the best for solar. Your territory may be different. Your manager can talk to you about that directly. Offset, the amount of solar replacing last year's electricity utility usage. System loss, the amount of production the system loses over time. Degradation, which is directly affects the system loss. The rate of system loses lost production, which is the example about 0.06% on a year is on average. Module, it's just a name for panels. So if you see solar module, it's no different. It's a solar panel. If you see PV module, it's a solar panel. So any of those are interchangeable. You can have solar module, solar panel, PV module, PV panel, all the same. Monocrystalline versus polycrystalline, the two types of panels. String inverter runs parallel. Sorry, that's backwards. It runs in series, not parallel. If one of the panels stops, the array stops working. Let me fix that. And then optimize independent systems. The panels work independently. They do not affect each other. So they are not interchangeable, but they work the same general way. Panel is the energy is either converted or conditioned at the panel before it goes down into the actual inverter. It's conditioned at the panel and then transferred to the converter or to the inverter to convert the energy from DC to AC, or inverted directly at the panel. But either way, it's panel level conditioning. Okay, that is basic overview of it. This will be available in your definitions now that the site's back up. Yay! You guys can access that and download the actual definition list. I have to check because they did move servers, so some of the files may be corrupt. If it's not in there, I will go in there and upload it tonight. You will have it tomorrow morning. You don't need it until Saturday. So I will just email it out to everybody tonight, just in case. Solar recap, we went over the kilowatt hours, the residential systems. Typical panel warranties, guys, is about 25 years. Typical inverter warranties is about 10 years, even on optimized systems. Here's the deal. We have a 25-year warranty on our inverters. A lot of other companies don't.
Did he just say 10? Typical.
Typical workmanship warranty is between 10 and 20 years for most companies. We have a 25. Typical battery warranty is 10 years. That doesn't change. Typical lifespan of a system is 20 to 30 years. On monocrystalline systems, we like to still say 20 to 30 years. We want to under promise and over deliver. Okay. They can go up to 40 years. Average lifespan of a panel is about 30. And we give you a 25-year warranty. Typical solar finance terms are between 5 and 25 years. We don't like using the 30. We have it available. So if it's worst case, we need to be competitive. We will. That's a manager discretion call, not a salesperson discretion. So between 5 and 25 years, we do cash, we do checks, we do credit cards, all that as well. We have all the way down to 0.99% and 0.49%. We even have some specialty financing as well, which you guys will learn more about on Friday. Typical lease systems are 20 years with a 1.9 to a 3.9% escalator. We don't see these anymore very often. This is more for the realtors that are here. If you guys have transferred lease systems, I have a separate course that talks about solar and real estate. This is going to affect you guys more. It's going to affect anybody else. Leases, we're not going to see them anymore. They aren't quoted anymore. If it happens, what you need to know about a lease, very simple. They're still renting their power, but they're renting it from the company that they got the panels from. The company owns the system. You're paying for the power that's being generated. They still increase your monthly payment every year, just like the utility does. And it's usually right about the same rate that the national average is. There's a reason why they're going away, and we don't even teach on it anymore because it's so rare that we haven't seen one in about 19 months. Okay. Inverter converts direct current to alternating current or sun power to house power. Excess power generated is sold back to the utility in the form of bill credit. Bill credit expires. It does not roll over year to year, only month to month. If there is a battery backup, the battery is used before the power is before the utility power is needed. Utility sells the power to the homes as needed, only as demand time of use. Most utility companies will charge a time of use demand charge. So it's a little bit more expensive than the standard tier rates, which we'll learn more about again tomorrow. However, it's not that much different. So as long as they're not using a severe amount of power and they're not doubling what their production was the year prior, they shouldn't see gigantic time of use demand charges. And then the position, including the angle of the panels, directly affect the production itself. So these are the main things that we learned today and yesterday. Both of these things are going to be sent back to you. So that way you guys can have it for study material. 90% of this isn't going to be on your test. Don't worry about it. We teach you guys the in-depth stuff, and then we test you on a broad view. We want to know that you understand the basic of it. So it's like, how many different types of panels are there? 1 or 2? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Well, there's 2 basic types of panels. What are they called? ABC. Fred Flintstone panels, monocrystalline, polycrystalline, or coffee black, right? They're not going to be as like, you know, in between like that with such crazy answers on the outside. Every once in a while you'll see something like that because we want you guys to pass. But we also want to make sure that you guys understand the basic core functions of what you're going to be talking about. Because 99% of the times, as long as you guys can understand and explain the proposal, which is all going to be written down right there for you, you know how we got to the conclusion because you've seen it with your own eyes, but now you can deliver that information that you're reading off to the customer with confidence. Now that you've seen a super brief, just kind of like proposal with all the information in there, do you guys have any questions on this before we move on to the next section? Now's the time, guys. Beat me up. We're good. You guys are a smart class. We're going to be seeing a lot of sales on Saturday. Watch. Oh, I do got one question. So Jen had a home with a client with leased solar. The main thing they liked about the idea of solar was the power went out. They were under the impression they wouldn't lose power. Yeah, now learning they would need a battery. Yes, they would absolutely need to add a battery. They may have to go back directly through their leasing provider because they don't own the system. They have no authority to make changes to that. And because of, and I know which company that Jen's talking about because she asked me about it yesterday. I can say with confidence they likely may not want to add onto that system at all. I could be wrong. They might have somebody that wants to come out and do it. I know in your territory, they don't have a lot of salespeople. They do have an online easy to buy tool, so they might be able to do it there, but it could affect their lease. They might offer them a buyout option. Best case for realtors in this situation, because I know Shantae's on here as well. When you come across this, ask about a buyout. It's rare that they'll let a customer do this when they're transferring a system, but they do it from time to time. See if the customer can just add it to the price of the loan and pay the system off that way. Does it always happen? No. Does it happen sometimes? Absolutely, it does. It depends on the length of the loan. They do require a minimum of 5 years on the solar lease before they will allow a buyout option. So get that price. They'll project the price out to what it's going to be 5 years from now so that the customer knows I can buy this system at that time. I can go back through that company, or they can just call you directly and you can jump into your app and build them a system, add the batteries, do all that stuff. The biggest point that you want to make to your customer, to the home buyer, is you're absolutely right. You will not have power when the grid goes down. The company may allow you to add batteries to it, but they are very expensive. So is there a specific reason why you want to never be without power? Find out that reason. A lot of times it's like, well, no, it's just, it would be nice to have. Great. So would it be worth the expense, or would you rather save a bunch of money, as much money as possible? I'd rather save money. Great. So based off of, what your usage may be, and we can project that out for them, based on what your usage may be, you're going to be saving roughly this much, which means that even if they take down the system, you decide not to buy the system, or you buy another system down the road, you're going to be able to save an extreme amount of money during the remainder of this lease without without being committed to purchase these panels. And you can get a better system in a couple years when your lease expires. Isn't that great? Turn it back around as a positive. It's not bad to buy a house with a lease system. The hardest part is expanding on that system, changing the contract to expand on that system, or adding batteries to that system. It's really difficult to do anything because they don't own it. They have no authority to do anything like that. Any other questions? Does that kind of answer that question, Jen?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions? No. Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop screen share for a second because I gotta hop in my folders. And we'll have time to get through training. Fantastic. We don't need to jump into that. Screen share, and you guys see my solar panel pro sales certification screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Congratulations on completing the first two modules. This is module 3. We are starting off on advertising and all that other fun stuff. The first part of it, I'm going to kind of run through pretty quickly. You will have access to download some of this stuff on the document center. So if you want to run funnels, you'll have the sheet on there on how to do it. The big one I want to go over is canvassing, because 99% of our reps prefer to canvas. It's the easiest way to get in front of a homeowner because it doesn't cost you a penny. If there's a door next to you, you can go do it. There are other ways to get customers. And if you can explore those however you want. If you want to make money as quickly as possible, you want to hit those metrics as quickly as possible and start getting to those $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 quarters and not years, then you're going to want to be looking at doing some canvassing in there as well on top of your referrals. So this course is designed to help you sell on purpose. When you're new, you will be selling on accident. We're going to teach you how to sell on purpose. We teach the step process that will guide you guide you and your customers through the buying process. We have nicknamed this the 5 steps to success. The 5-step process can be used with canvassing, phone appointment setting, sales, and recruiting. So the important thing to take out of this entire thing is people like to buy, they do not like to be sold. It's one of the reasons why we do the virtual interviews with you guys. We don't want to sell you guys on why to work for us. We want you guys to actually make the decision yourself and have that opportunity to interview us so that you can make the decision. We do the same thing with our customers. We want them to make the decision to buy. Now, with that being said, you're still salespeople, which means you want to sell, you got to make money. So we're going to teach you the process on how to help them through that buying process and make it a clear-cut buying process. Yes, you're going to go in there and deliver proposals. You're going to go in there and deliver consultations at no cost, no obligation to buy, pay, or sign for anything. However, you're going to want them to buy something. Here's the steps to do it. Okay. So we're going to go over some of the advertising methods. We're going to go over objection handling, selling on purpose, and advanced solar tech. And we're going to go advanced into solar, learn about the ITC, the selling on purpose parts, and probably the objections we're not going to get to today. We're going to do those tomorrow. If we can't get to the objections, it's very unlikely because I want to get through the app and teach you guys how to navigate that. So first one, and the one that we will be going through today, is the minimum advertising methods. Again, just like I talked about in orientation, I want you guys to think about your mind like a parachute. The only time a parachute works is when it's open. All right. People fail, programs don't. I learned this term back early in my sales career, and it hasn't failed me yet. Every time I dip in sales, every time I dip in productivity, I take a look at what I'm doing versus what the program teaches. I go back to the basics and my productivity goes right back up. It happens every single time. Human error is always going to be the biggest thing that's going to cause you to fail. Look at the program, see where you're at compared to the program. Had a conversation with a rep earlier today, and the last couple of days, he's out canvassing. He's having really, really bad days out on the doors. So we went through the program. Turns out he wasn't doing like 90% of it. That's okay. That's okay. As long as you recognize it. He corrected it. He went out in like 2 hours, set 4 appointments, right? Talking to people, and actually were able to open up conversations and had fun having these conversations, was able to joke about it with them. And it wasn't work. He had actually, he had a fantastic day, set appointments in a couple of hours. And a couple of them are already, they're like, yeah, no, I like you. And we're looking at other companies. So if they like him and they're looking at other companies, what's the likelihood they're going to buy from him? A lot higher, because they buy from people they like and trust. So now all he's got to do is follow the program on the selling on purpose. And I can almost guarantee he's going to get a sale. We have a higher closing average than every other solar company out there. And the reason why is because we teach them how to buy solar, not to be sold solar. Advertising, ladies and gentlemen. Advertising has 3 main objections: to inform, to persuade, and to remind. Informative advertising creates awareness of brands, products, services, and ideas. It announces new products and programs that can educate people about the attributes and benefits of new or established products. This is our goal, whether we're canvassing, we're doing call lists, we're doing marketing funnels, we're even asking for referrals. We're doing these 3 things because we are advertising solar. We're advertising our brand. So what we're going to look at with advertising is a couple of things. There's a lot of different types of advertising in the world. You have everything from word of mouth all the way to print media. The problem is with most of these, they're out of date. When was the last time you picked up a newspaper? When was the last time you went to the store and purposely bought one that wasn't just thrown in onto your driveway? When was the last time you turned on the radio and didn't connect your Bluetooth to listen to music that you wanted to? How often do you watch actual TV versus surfing Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO, Stars, all these different streaming services which don't have ads or anything on them? Billboards are a lot better than a lot of those other ones because you still drive past them. But even then, most people are working remote. They're not leaving their house as often as they used to be, which means they're not seeing the billboards anymore. People are on internet and they talk to each other. Social media, word of mouth, Internet, it's all, these are the two major forms of advertising over the course of the last 2 decades. And this is where the capitalizing is. So what's the one thing that still works that isn't listed on here? Canvassing. Door knocking, canvassing is absolutely incredible. I'm going to teach you guys a lot how to do that because it will blow up your bank account very, very quickly. Do you have to be great at it? No, you just have to hit your metrics. I'm going to give you guys a little secret. I don't like canvassing too much, but I hold records. I just found out recently, it used to be 6 different industries. I'm not in those industries anymore. Somebody finally beat my records. 4 out of 6 of the industries that I held records and I still hold records in today.
Mhm.
And the reason why is not because I love doing it. It's because I got so good at it because I wanted to do it for a shorter period of time than everybody else and still make the same amount of money, if not more. So I got really, really good at it. So that means I sucked at it for a really long time. And you have to not be afraid to suck at something that you're brand new at. That's step number 1 for any type of marketing that you do. You put out a funnel and it tanks and you spent $200 on that and you didn't get anything out of it. Well, go back and look at your ad copy, see where you messed up on it, right? So we have, again, I put the definition there because we're looking at those 3 primary things. You're going to be talking to more people. You are the word of mouth at that point. That's the point of door knocking. You are getting referrals. It's the point of door knocking. Networking. It's the point of door knocking. Bandit size. It's the point of, it's the same thing. Just like door knocking. People are seeing you more often in the neighborhoods. They're talking about you. You got to determine how people are talking about you by your attitude, by the way you present yourself. Being professional isn't wearing a shirt and tie to work every single day or a nice suit. That's not being professional. Professional does their job every day to the best of their ability. That is a professional. There are more professional garbage men than there are people in Wall Street. I can guarantee you that because they get up and they do their job every day to the best of their ability and they do it without complaining. That is a professional and that's what we're looking for, right? So here's a little fun fact for you guys. There's a football here for a reason. At $6 million, NBC will be seeking a 9.1% increase over a $5.5 million CBS sought for 30 seconds of ad time in the 2021 and Fox pressed 2020 Super Bowl. Companies pay $6 million for 30 seconds of ad time. During the Super Bowl in 2020, Anheuser-Busch earned the title of the top spender. They have a title for it, having invested $42 million in promoting its products. In comparison, the runner-up, Procter & Gamble, spent $11 million less than that on commercials aired during the telecast. So just during normal TV, all year, Procter & Gamble spent $31 million all year. For a couple of hours, Anheuser-Busch spent $42 million. Why they do that? Because everybody's watching it, right? Where are you going to invest your time? Where are you going to invest your money? Now, do you have $42 million to get your personal brand out there? No, these guys do, right? And fun fact, Brian and I are actually trying to, we have some projections. We're hoping 2023, we can try to get the Super Bowl, but likely be 2024. We have a goal. We want to be the first solar company that hits the Super Bowl. It's going to be cool. So we want to do something like that. Will we likely be hitting $42 million? Absolutely freaking not. We're going to try to see if we can buy 10-second ad times. But if we have to, whatever we have to do, we want to be the first solar company that does that, because it's going to work no differently than what these guys are doing. The reason why they're doing it, these are the most bought products after the Super Bowl all year round. It's what everybody remembers. They have the viral commercials. They're the funniest commercials. There was literally entire shows dedicated to the Super Bowl commercials, right? So yeah, we want to do it. It'd be a fun idea. Does it mean that it may not be a great investment for us? We're going to take a look at it, but it's on our goal list. So it's going to be fun. But for you guys, don't worry about it. You can actually make more money than somebody who's selling at a car dealership by just knocking on doors or picking up the phone and talking to people, right? Do you need to earn that much money by just selling solar panels? No. Would it be nice? Absolutely. I wish we could do that too, but there's no way we're spending $42 million on 30 seconds of ad time. It's just not going to happen. It's not a good investment. Casting a wide net. So guys, we're going to talk about, first thing we're going to talk about is sales funnels. Again, I'm going to breeze through this because not everybody here is going to be doing sales funnels. This will be available in the document center. I want to get to canvassing, and I want to get to, because it works exactly the same on phone calls, and I want to get to the app so you guys can start setting some appointments. So sales funnels is casting a wide net and narrowing it down. It's literally a funnel just like it looks right here. You have the top of the rim all the way down to the bottom. So no matter how simple or complex, the fact is the funnel, that sales funnels, they do work when they're built according to certain universal principles. Case in point, 87% of consumers choose a business with vendors who provide valuable content at all stages of their buying process. 63% of consumers need to hear a company's value proposition 3 to 5 times before they trust these claims. And nurtured leads make 47% larger purchases than non-nurtured prospects. So the reason why this is important, guys, is because if you're going to do sales funnels, you're going to have to invest sometimes, a couple hundred or a couple $1,000s, depending on how many leads that you want and how much you have the capability of investing right off the bat. Multiple industries do this as salespeople, including realtors, insurance agents. Even a lot of car salesmen are now investing in their own personal sales funnels to make sure people are coming to buy cars from them directly. So when we're doing this, we're looking at keeping and letting people see you as much as possible and recognizing you as that brand. So they see you those 3 to 5 times, they contact you, and then you become their solar person. In addition to top, middle, and bottom sales funnels have traditionally been structured around 4 sales stages, also known by the acronym. I took it out for, I don't remember for what reason, but yeah, I don't remember. Awareness. Guys, I was restructuring this entire deck 2 weeks ago because the old one, trust me, it wasn't pretty. Awareness, sometimes referred to as the attention stage. It's in here. I just don't think I put the acronym. Yeah, we'll see it. So sometimes referred to as the attention stage. It's the first stage of the sales funnel where your brand catches the eye of the new audience members via marketing content and our valuable baseline offer. So if you've ever touched a phone, you've probably gone on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, or something like that. You've seen ads at least once or twice. The ones that you stop on are the ones that are either delivering content that you actually like, number one, or is funny. So you have to put that behind what you're doing. It builds interest. Here the brand begins to forge a deeper relationship with the prospect. So this is where when they click on it, you have more information for them, whether in the form of an ad copy or of an extended video. Here's the desire part of it. In that desire part of it, this is where you're starting to get the consumer to they're starting to become convinced that you're that person that's going to solve the problem that they were originally clicking on it for. So your interest stage is really where you're going to have to deliver that value. Here's where they like you, and then they get to the point where they fill out the forms. And this is the acronym. I just didn't put it in letters. So the final stage of the sales funnel has prospects deciding to purchase or not purchase the brand's premium product or value or service. You'll need to reinforce the value of your offer as well as the downsides of not making a purchase. These sales funnels stages describe the general process all of us go through, as well as some general action steps you need to take in order to make your prospect move forward through the funnel. This is where they fill out the form and they send it over to you. We do a lot of these on our end. Brian and I are about to invest a ton of money on getting you guys some leads. We were doing that today. And getting more to you guys more quickly, because right now leads, the way that we view them, when a company is providing leads, those are incentives. They're not a privilege, or they're not a privilege. You're incentivized by getting leads because of your production, because of your work ethic, and because we know we can trust you with those leads, because we're going to invest our money. We want to make a return on our money, right? It's just like any other investment, just like the homeowners are looking at solar to make a return on investment. Because we're going to do that, we have a ton of these already. Okay. And as those come in and as you become more developed in your sales skills, and we know it's like, okay, cool. So Nathan, you're on top of my list. So I'm just going to go ahead and use you. Nathan's, he's killing it. The guy's out here. He's kicking butt. I'm going to go ahead and throw him a couple leads, and that way he doesn't, he can take some time and we can start working on him towards maybe, you know, some team lead stuff, right? He's expressed interest in becoming a team lead. He wants to start recruiting some people. Here's some leads. Let's start moving you up. Or Chris is like, I don't want to be a team lead, but he's killing it, right? He has no desire to be a team lead. Okay, that's fantastic, but he's killing it. So let's reward him. Let's give him a break from his own funnels. Let's give him a break from spending his money. Let's give him a break from going out there and knocking doors. Let's give him a break from the phones. Let's give him, you know, 4 or 5 leads this week, and you know, give him a little bit of a break. That way he can just focus on, you know, some of this other stuff that he wants to do, or spend more time with his family, whatever the case may be, right? We want to incentivize you guys with those, but again, it's based off of performance and work ethic. We got to know that you guys are going to actually take care of those customers, and that you can actually deliver a proper proposal to them. Okay. All right. So here's how the advertising methods actually work. So when you're looking at these things, depending on the stage that you're selling and who your target audience is, you want to tailor each of your stages to those customers. The very end is where they buy. So you have your bait, that's that clickbait stuff that you guys see, those funny videos and stuff like that. It gets to that front end offer where you're writing an ad copy, that middle offer where you're trying to get them to sign up for the lead form, so it gets submitted to you. And then that back end offer is essentially where you're sitting down with the customer, with us. We want to get in front of them so that we can have a conversation. They're not actually purchasing something online, right? So this is where we're actually sitting down with the customer, and that'll lead to the sale. The entire time you have to be developing additional value through the process. So yes, you absolutely can and have more than one funnel in place at a time. This will become a little bit more clear in a little bit, so you guys will understand how that works. The AIDA or the AIDA is a great starting point, and it just gets better along the way. Okay, so funnels work just similar to this. There's 4 steps to it. You have your traffic, you have your top of the funnel, which is general campaigns, soft touches or promos, and then general contacts. And you get that middle of the funnel, like we were talking about, that personalized campaigns, the warm touch. So this is where, you know, they're filling out that lead form, you're calling them, you're getting that general interest going, and you're getting that appointment set, you're getting a copy of the utility bill, you're getting them engaged. And then you have the back end. This is where we're sitting down with them. These are the hot leads. These are the ones that you're following up with and you're calling on a consistent basis. So 6 funnel steps, a couple things you need to know. Know your offer. That's super important. You need to get traffic. You need to advertise a lot. You need to get the bait out there. You need your front end promo. You need to know what you're going to say that's going to get them engaged, and you need to get them to contact so that you can get them scheduled, so you can sit down and make that offer at the very end and negotiate the close. So these are your actual 6 steps that you're going through on a funnel. The front end offer is pretty simple. It's surface general needs, a low price at a low risk offer, provides the customers you offer it to new customers. If you've hopped on YouTube, and you guys have probably been seeing this stuff recently, since you guys have been saying solar around your phones, because so your phones listen, all of a sudden you're seeing stuff pop up on your YouTube and on your, if you are a homeowner in this territory and you have this type of meter, your phone listens, right? That's the front end offer. When you click on it, it starts giving more information. So once your prospective customer have taken you up on your bait offer, you will send them directly to the landing page, which is going to give them that middle offer. Okay. So that's where this writing an ad copy becomes really important. So follow this checklist. A copy needs to quickly communicate the value of your offer to your prime audience. So the reason why I'm not, just so you guys know, I'm breezing through this. I'm going to put it up. This is a lot of information. You guys can literally just print this out or copy paste it into a Word doc and just read it off and just follow the checklist to create your funnel if that's what you're doing. So this is a checklist that you need to have. Let your brand personally come through. Be a relatable character. Tailor your message to your audience. Short sentences and paragraphs, but provide more depth. Okay. Know what you're going to say and shorten it down. Dumb it down, just like I did with batteries. Right. You guys know how they work. Here's how you explain it. Right at or below a 6th grade reading level, so that you can reach a wider audience. Use bullet points or number lists, and include subheaders in every image, and or an image every 200 or 300 words. So you break it up, so every couple hundred words are seen a picture that illustrates it. I do it very similar on this, where you guys see some type of infographic or something so that you guys can stay engaged. So it's the same thing when you're writing an ad copy. Social proof is another part of the ad copy. So follow this checklist for this. Social proof can and should be used to reinforce your claims. So get testimonials from your customers. Vinny's great at this. I do them for people that I work with all the time. I'm happy to record a 10-second, hey, these guys were great, I love them. And I'm also really quick to make them take it down if they didn't follow through on their promise. Generalized proof regarding your brand may work to engage new prospects. However, you need to be more specific anecdotes from successful customers when looking to make bigger sales further down your funnel. So as you get down the funnel, you want your better and more specific testimonials on there. So most solar companies do this with consistent contact points to get the most positive reviews and screenshots into their ads. Others take system operating photos with the customers, kind of like those bills that we had that I showed you guys on orientation day, where it's different savings for different customers. And then you have your call to action. No matter what you're offering on a given squeeze page is what it's called, with those 200 to 300 words with pictures. It needs to be crystal clear to your audience. Needs to do to receive the offer. They need to call you so that they can get a proposal. And they sit down with you. Don't beat around the bush. The call to action stands out. It's a call to action. You got to be demanding. You got to let them know what you want from them. What do you get? What do I get? There's no mistake. There's no mistaking what action Lady Boss wants in its website visitors to take. So guys, just boom. This is what you guys need to do in order to get this. Fill out this form and we'll get you guys a personalized proposal. In some cases, you might even want to include CTAs at the top of the list, top and bottom. So click here to receive your free quote. Click here to learn more. Click here to submit or to see what a roof drawing would look like. So the middle offer is just like that. It's a progressively more valuable and intense solution that helps customers solve a more deep-seated problem. This is that ad copy, guys, that we just discussed. This is where you put that information in there to where you can have that conversation with them indirectly through the ad and get them thinking like, yes, this is a problem. Let me submit my information. And the back end offer is the most valuable, intense, and costly product or service that customers can use on a conditional basis to solve an ever-present problem in their lives. All it means is we're sitting down, we're going over the bill review, we're going through the proposal, we're showing them the exact information that they're wanting to see. The back end offer is your consultation. That is your goal. When you're writing an ad copy, your goal is to sit down with them, know your goals, not just knowing what you're going to say, know what your goal is, which is to sit down and not just to inform and get people to click on it. So here's a quick wrap up. The thing is, there is no guarantee that your customers will simply move on to the next value level once they've experienced all that you have to offer on the current stage. In some cases, your customer are most likely to stick to what they know rather than risk jumping into the next tier of service. Guys, if this was easy, we wouldn't have jobs and we wouldn't make the money we make, right? So you're going to hear a lot of no's. That's just sales. So instead of heavy-handedly pushing your most valuable offer, you want to simply keep them engaged with your brand. So have something that's going to be easily recognizable when you're doing these videos, when you're doing these things. You guys can have funnels that are based off of just TikToks. You guys can have funnels that are based off of, little videos and informational videos on YouTube, which are absolutely free. And you get people engaged and you can send them to the website to fill out the contact form and put your name in there. You can give them, little stuff like that. There's ways to get ad copies and funnels without spending money. The fastest way to get it done is to put a funnel like on Facebook or something that costs money. And basically, this involves doing whatever you can to continue providing value to them after they've purchased a given product or service. This is where you're continually following up with them. We do this for you through the app where they can go in and submit for referrals. We do touches with them. We remind them to check their usage. We remind them to check their production. We monitor the production so we can call them if their system is not producing what it's supposed to be. We can contact Titan and schedule a service call before the customer ever knows there's a problem because we're monitoring it. We have it triggered to let us know if a system drops below a certain production. All right. I try to do all that in one breath. If you can't tell, I'm thirsty. We have plenty of time now. let's go ahead and take a break for questions. What do we got? Does everybody kind of understand? Like the biggest thing I wanted you guys to understand is what a funnel is. Do you guys understand what a funnel is now and kind of how you're seeing all these ads and what the intent of those are for on social media?
Yes.
Yeah, makes it a little bit more
Yes.
simple. Okay, so that's all you're doing, guys. We do a lot of this as well. So if you want to stick to what you know, you want a canvas, you want a referral, you want a network, great, do that. We'll get you guys leads because you're kicking butt. So don't worry about it. If you don't have the money to spend on it right now, it's not something you have to do. There are the free ways to get funnels out there. Like I said, Jen is a master at those. If you guys ever take a look at her TikToks, they're freaking hilarious. So, you know, she gets a lot of engagement off of those. So have fun with these. You can get on the algorithms without spending any money. It just takes a lot more time and a lot more effort. So we will be doing some classes down the road on what works. I talk to all of our marketing guys that we work with so that I'm informed on what the current algorithms are like so that I can help teach you guys. I want to know what they're doing with the money as well. It's like, are you guys actually doing what's best? We have a couple different companies that we market with. It's like, okay, cool. You're doing this. These guys aren't. Why are you doing this? Why aren't they? And then I go ask them the exact same question. Why aren't you doing this? And why are they doing it? What's going on? And then sometimes they have different answers, and sometimes it's just because they didn't know the algorithm changed yet. These things change almost monthly. So there's a lot more to going in and just, you know, diving in, trying to get, yeah, I'm just going to go, you know, post some stuff on Facebook and spend $1,000. You may not get a single lead off of it if you don't know your goal and what you're trying to get them to do. Number one, you don't have engaging content, and you know, you don't write every 200 to 300 words with a picture, and you don't have the right call to actions. All this stuff is scientifically proven to work. And if you don't do it right, the program is not going to work for you because you did it as a person and you failed, unfortunately. But the program's working for everybody else. The reason why it's still consistent is because it works. They're following the program and it works for them. The problem is a lot of people jump on the program. So Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all these companies say, hey, we're going to change the algorithm so that we, you know, not just one company's out there making all the profit because they got it locked down. They're spending the most money. Do we need to take a 5-minute break, guys? I've been talking for an hour and a half consistently, so I know you guys might need to take a bathroom break or something.
Oh, I'm good.
I think we're good. All right. Canvassing. So what is canvassing? What is going on? There we go. Canvassing is a systemic initiation of direct contact with individuals commonly used during political campaigns. Canvassing can be done for many reasons: political campaigning, grassroots funding, community awareness, membership drives, and more. Campaigners knock on doors to contact people personally. We do it too. It's actually done for sales more often than not. One of the original door knocking companies was Kirby. I did Kirby. I learned Kirby. I did it very well. If I can sell a $3,000 vacuum to somebody, I can sell solar. I'm going to teach you guys the same programs that made me successful in that industry, where I was able to develop a pitch over there that is used pretty much worldwide by them still, and is definitely used consistently in the territory that I used to work in, that is still working to this day, getting them in more homes, helping them sell on purpose more. I was able to convert that pitch into a step process that I was able to teach during my consulting career that was used in 5 other industries, that is still being used in all 5 of those industries. The step process is very simple. It's not easy. Now I'm going to teach you guys how it works today. So a couple of things. So most companies do have a script. We do have a script, but we put it to steps for a reason. So scripts are good to memorize so that you know what you're going to say. The downside is a lack of flexibility to overcome objections. If you're a salesperson, you know what you're going to say when you're going to need to say it. The reason why we step program in it, and just like this, is because we want you guys to have the freedom to be able to use your personality and your skills as a salesperson, not be stuck on a script. So scripts are still available to help you know what to say and when to say it. When your customer gives you an objection or you're interrupted, instead of finding your place in the script where you left off, you're able to continue on the step. So I test everybody when I talk to them when it comes to canvassing and when it comes to the sale. If I'm saying, okay, cool, 5 steps of the sale, what's step number 3? I don't want to hear the step. I want to hear their pitch, and I want them to deliver it to me just like that, right at the beginning. And I test them that way for a reason. If you can memorize, if you know what you're going to say on a step, you can't get sidetracked. It's fantastic. So it gives sales professionals the ability to use their personality and skills, and it doesn't create robots and allows for candid conversations, which is very, very important. It's the difference between me reading off these scripts to you guys, and if we just had a direct conversation face to face, the conversation would be more candid. We could joke around a little bit more. It's a lot different. Like, we had a little bit of a candid conversation, and I allowed you guys to like jump in and answer questions and all that stuff in the beginning. It's different than it is when I'm reading off the script. These can get boring. I get that. We don't want you guys to be boring inside the house. So what should I remember? You're buying your time at their door every 10 seconds. The longer a section of your pitch is, the higher chance that customers will go off script, because they're put on script when you start your step program, and they're going to ask a question that isn't relevant to what you're doing. The end of each step should be a yes or no question, and respond with a positive statement no matter what they say. They don't have enough information to say no. So an objection is just a smoke screen. You always finish your pitch. So this goes the same thing for phone calls. When you're talking to a lead, when you're talking to a customer, when you're at their door, whether they hang up on you or they shut the door, or you allow them to hang up or you walk away, it's the same result. So why not just finish your pitch and then shut the door? At least you did your job, right? Go out there and have some fun with it. Finish your pitch. Like, some of my favorite phone people to talk to on the phone are the car insurance warranty people, because they are consistent and they won't let you get off the phone. They will continue their pitch until they get it out 100%. You don't want to be intrusive. You don't want to be aggressive. You want to be assertive. There is a difference between the two. So I'll get into that here in a minute. So here's 6 rules that you guys should follow. Okay. Ask the right questions. There's 3 types of questions that we use as salespeople: yes or no, open-ended, and either or win-win. Depending on what side of the country you grew up on and you started sales on, it's either an either or question or it's a win-win. Okay. Either way, they're all designed for a specific purpose, to get a specific type of answer from a customer. So if I want you to give me a yes or no question, I'm going to ask you in a way that gives me yes or no. Okay. So for instance, have you heard about this? Yes or no, right? I didn't ask you, what have you heard about us? That would be an open-ended question. It's the same question, but you're going to get a different result every time. So be aware of the questions and the way that you ask them. Do you want to go out tonight? Where would you rather go out tonight? 2 very different questions. Do you want to go out? Puts pressure. No, no. Oh, where would you rather go out tonight? Open-ended. You give them a lot of options. Something better there would be, where would you rather go out tonight? Red Lobster or Outback Steakhouse? You just narrowed it down. That's an either or a win-win. It's the illusion of control. They're still making a decision based off of the 2 options that you gave them. So you can have very different conversations with people depending on how you end your sentence and the way you're asking your questions. Sales professionals, not salespeople, sales professionals know what type of questions they're going to ask before they even open their mouth and speaking. That all boils down to time and experience. Am I a better salesperson than you? Absolutely not. The only difference between me and you is time. I have more time doing this program, and I have more time knowing what I'm saying and why I'm saying it, which is why I'm more successful in this career than you guys right now, because you're just starting. I know more about solar than you guys right now. The only difference between me and you is time. I hope you get better than me. Most of you will be better than me. But you have to know what you're going to say and why you're going to say it. What's the goal of this question that I'm going to be asking this customer right now? Do I want to just make sure that they're paying attention to me, or do I want them to engage with me? If I want them to open up, I'm going to use open-ended. If I want them to engage and have a full-fledged conversation, I want to learn more about them, make a friend, I want an open-ended question. If I just want to pay attention, if I want to see if they're paying attention, I want to use a yes or no question. So I'm going to end most of my sentences and most of my steps with a yes or no. Does that make sense? Isn't that great? Take a look at that. Isn't that cool? Oh my gosh, that's fantastic, isn't it? Asking questions like that, just make sure that they're engaged and they're paying attention. It draws attention back to you. If they're losing focus, yes or no. If you want to make sure that they are understanding something, yes or no works as well. Open-ended questions can put people on blast. It can be uncomfortable sometimes. So when we're using open-ended questions, we're typically using it for fact-finding and to find a need. So we want to use these at very specific times in our pitch. We typically use them when we want to, like I said, make a friend. We want to learn about them. We have the joy of being able to go into a customer's house. They're not coming onto our car lot. And so we don't have to ask intrusive questions, figuring out where they work, why they work there, what their family's like. Do they like their dogs? Have they kicked a cat before? What's their favorite sports team? Why don't they like sports? Why do they like MMA? Why is their nose bleeding? We don't have to ask them questions like that. We can look at their walls and we can see the Tom Brady posters, and we can see Dale Earnhardt Jr., and we can see the baseball card collection, their Pokemon collection, and the pictures of their family, and the beautiful car in the driveway, and the guitars, and the drum set, and the pianos, and the nice big TV. You can see what that person's interested in just by walking into their front door. We're all at home right now. If you looked around your living room, it probably speaks volumes about you, and you never even realized it. If I, as a professional, were to walk in your living room, I could probably pick out the top 3 things that you're interested in your life, and I'm going to get you to talk about them. And you're going to love me by the end of it, and I never said anything about myself. The reason why is because I got you to talk about you. What's everybody's favorite subject? Themselves. You don't want to be talking most during open-ended questions. If you are having a hard time figuring out what that customer's interests are, typically they're going to start asking you questions about things that they like. So answer it briefly, throw the question back at them. If you were to have a conversation with me, one of the first go-tos for me is, how much do you bench? Right? So if you start asking me about the gym, you're going to be my best friend. I know nothing about you, and I love you to death, because I got to talk about, my gym records and all this other stuff that I've set. And, oh yeah, no, I'm not as big as I used to be, or, oh man, I'm stronger than I used to be. Whatever the case may be, I like you. You wanted to listen to me. You let me brag about myself for about 30 minutes talking about my chest workout that I did 3 days ago. That is, that's how you kind of figure that out when you're brand new. What type of questions are they asking me? Great. So they're asking, oh, do you go on vacation? Yeah, I like to go on vacation. I typically go out, places like beaches. What about you? Where do you go for vacation? Have you gone recently? Oh, what was the last trip you went on? Just watch them light up and watch them just start spewing it out and learning all this great stuff about them. It's fantastic. And then either or is usually used as some type of a value prop when you're trying to get them to make a decision. So we use this a lot on appointment setting. We use this a lot at the end of our proposals. We don't, hey, for the young people out there who are trying to get dates, use either or questions. Stop using yes or no. Hey, do you want to go out with me? No. Would be a better time to go out with you? Would it be like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock? Right? Give them options. Watch the response difference. Either or questions portrays confidence. Whether you're asking somebody for a date or you're trying to get a sale from somebody, they like confidence. People buy from people they like and trust, and confident people are trustworthy about 90% of the time. So being confident, being cocky are 2 very different things. Now, follow the program. People fail, programs don't. This comes to experience and training. When following the steps, you know what a customer is going to ask at the doors before they ask it. It's different than anticipating objections inside of a home. We know what they're going to ask, so we give you guys the steps in order to overcome those. Don't prejudge. Don't carry past losses forward. This works for phones. This works for internet. This works for doors. They don't know you. They weren't expecting you. You don't know what's going on the inside of that door or what their day was like. The person you talked to at the last house didn't move to the house that you're knocking to in the next 10 seconds. That's an important one to remember. They haven't heard it before, despite what they say. They have no idea what you're going to say. They know what everybody else said, and you're not going to say the same thing. And you're not the same person that they talked to before. These are important rules to remember. Guys, you're going to hear more no's in sales in a month than most people will hear in their entire lives. Don't carry that no onto the next person. You don't know what's going on. They could have gotten fired. They could be fighting with their spouse. They could have gotten some bad news. Somebody in the family could have died. There's a lot of things that could have happened in a very short period of time to that person, and you just happen to knock on the door or call them on the phone. What happens next? yeah, they're going to have a bad attitude, right? So what I like to do when I'm doing these things is I like to be so bubbly and so inviting. I call it my cashier. We've all been in that type of a mood before. Let's say, something bad happened to you, you lost a job, or you wrecked your car earlier that day, or you went through a breakup. You're just in a really bad mood. Sometimes you just wake up that way. Now you got to go get your coffee. Now the person on the other side of that counter is so bubbly and so happy and so enthusiastic, your attitude changes a little bit. They dictated your attitude. I like to be the person that's going to dictate your attitude. I'm not going to let you affect mine. That person is not going to have their heart broken by you, and you know that. And you don't want to break their heart. You don't want to ruin their day. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. There are some people out there that are just assholes. Pardon my language. It's true. Just so you guys know, I am medically diagnosed as an asshole. I'll tell you about that story some other time. But there are people that are like that, but it's very, 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 very rare. Okay. Even when I'm in a bad mood and I go up to a cashier, which is rare that I'm in a bad mood, but I go up to a cashier and they're bubbly, I don't want to ruin their day. So I'm not going to let it affect me in a bad way. I'm going to let them affect me in a positive way. I end up smiling a little bit more. I end up joking with them a little bit because I don't want to be a bad person, right? This is important. And guys, this is a huge one when you're out there knocking on doors. The person you just talked to at the last house didn't move. That person's a punk. They're a punk. The neighbor's not, right? If the last person you talked to that was a jerk drove a Corvette, just because that guy has a Corvette, it's not the same guy, right? It's just a similar car. They didn't move. Don't treat them as if you did. The way you act is going to dictate how the customer acts. So you have to have the right attitude and you have to respond with the right attitude. Your attitude will determine the attitude of your customer. If your customer gives you a negative response or objection, respond positively. This changes their perception and spins the conversation in a positive direction that you control. Sales is about who has the control of the conversation. It's also important to remember when transitioning between steps, good, great, fantastic, amazing, exactly, absolutely, awesome. These are perfect responses. And don't interrupt the customer. Be assertive, not aggressive. Guys, a couple things. I'm going to start with the assertive, not aggressive one. This one's a simple concept. Get the words out of your vocabulary. Yes, but. Here's the reason why. When you're having a conversation with somebody and they give you a statement, they believe that statement. The second you say yes, but, you just told them they're wrong. When you tell somebody you're wrong, they become defensive. Now they feel that they have to be argumentative and defend what they believed. Even if they were wrong, they want to defend what they believed. So they're going to shut their ears and open their mouths. We want the exact opposite. You want to control the attitude. You want them to shut their mouths and open their ears. The way that we do that is by responding positively to a negative response. If they say, oh, I don't have time. Perfect. No, I'm not interested. Perfect. Their heads are going to snap at you. What do you mean perfect? I just told you no. Their mouths are going to shut and their ears are going to open. It's going to cause them to listen to you. This is the key thing that makes us different from everybody else that they've talked to is we're in a good mood. Nobody else was. We're enthusiastic and we use the meet and increase rule. So you meet the customer's energy level and you raise it by 1. And each time the customer starts to meet your energy level, you increase it by 1 again. When you're excited about what you're doing, they're excited about what you're doing. Smiling is contagious. Your energy starts on the street, not when they answer the door. They saw you on their cameras. They saw you talking to the neighbors. They saw you on their drive home. They formed their impression of you and you didn't even know it. Before you ever touch that door, they already have an idea about you. So if you were pulling leaves from a customer's bush as you drove by and you were smoking in the neighborhood, or you were kicking rocks, or you were throwing sticks, they don't want to talk to you. If you're skipping down the street and you're waving at random people and you're helping somebody in there with their groceries and your neighbors are laughing with you, they want to know who you are and what you're doing. They actually want to have a conversation with you. And even if it's subconscious, they are going to be a lot more positive when they answer that door. So we use the meet and increase rule. If they answer the door and they're freaked out because they weren't expecting, hello, you don't want to be like me and go, hey, oh, so good to see you. You're going to scare the living crap out of that person. Okay. You want to meet their energy level and you want to, hi, which is where they're at. You want to go, hi. And then when they go to hi, you want to go, hi. They go to high, you want to go high, and you just keep stepping them up in enthusiasm along the way. It works really, really well. By the end, you want them high-fiving. You want them happy and excited that you came by. That's the goal. Make them happy and excited that you came by. Same thing on the phone. Make them happy and excited you came by. We've all had that call from a telemarketer. We answer the door, you answer the phone, what? You can hear the depression in their voice. You don't want to talk to them. We've also had that call from a telemarketer where it's, what? Oh, hey, it's great to hear from you. So-and-so there. Yeah, great. And they start talking, and you're not going to cut them off because they're in a good mood. You start matching their energy, and they actually end up engaging in a conversation with them. Whether you buy from them or not, they engage you in a conversation. Who do you think is going to be more successful? Another guy who's mad at me, or the person who doesn't care what your attitude was and is going to dictate yours and help you become in a better mood. It's the second person. So the other thing is smiling is contagious. Guys, side rule, don't look in people's windows when you're knocking doors ever. If they have a door that it's a glass window and there's a glass window next to it, don't just stare through it and wait for them to come to the door. It's weird. It's creepy. Don't be that way. Don't be that person. It's not good. I always turn my body about halfway and I'm looking down the street and I'm waving at cars that are driving by. I've always taught all my people to do that for a couple reasons. Number one, you're not being intrusive. You're not being creepy. It doesn't set a bad tone. Number two, they see a positive, happy person standing there waiting. It makes them engage you first. You get to dictate how their mood is. So you're not going to freak them out. It works really, 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 really well. So when you knock on the door, you take a couple steps back, turn halfway sideways, maybe look at your phone, finish up dropping your pin from the last house and putting in your notes, and you're waving at the neighbor, and all of a sudden hey, can I help you? Oh, hey, nice to meet you, right? But it's like, hey, what are you doing at my house? Oh, hey, I didn't know you were home. Nice to meet you. You want to be exciting and enthusiastic and increase their energy level to yours, but you want to get them engaging you and not the other way around. Right? They ask you what you're doing. This also works for a couple of other scenarios, and that goes into advanced sales techniques. But enthusiasm works. We used to have an old chant that we used. Good old Mike Lopez, love this guy to death. He used to make us scream it at every single sales meeting that we went to. He'd walk in the room, and if we didn't yell it, he'd walk out and walk back in 100 times until we did it right. Enthusiasm. And we had to do it every single time. But it was contagious, and we would end up doing it, and we would end up being enthusiastic. And he was one of the most electrifying speakers that we ever had come teach us, because he gave the perception that it's going to be enthusiastic. Even if we were getting a morning beating is what he would like to call it, because we weren't doing our jobs, we were excited that he was yelling at us. It was great. I love that guy to death. So enthusiasm will always sell, okay? This goes back to another part of that side rule. Is logic will start to overcome your enthusiasm, and you may see a drop in your production. People buy off of emotion. They don't buy off of logic. Okay. Your enthusiasm will always dictate more sales every single time. So it's about finding that little balance in between the two, being excited about what you're doing, and then being able to deliver information at the same time. And then the next important part is assuming the appointment. Assume they've already said yes. Assume they love it. Assume they love me, and keep the momentum going and keep moving to the next step. I assume everybody loves me. I assume I'm absolutely fantastic, and everybody that meets me is going to fall deeply in love with me. And you can't convince me otherwise. You'll never be able to convince me otherwise. You can tell me you hate me to my face, and I'm just going to believe that it's because you love me so much you don't want to admit it to yourself. That's the type of enthusiasm that you should portray at the house, and you're going to see people's attitudes change. So here's the five steps process. Okay, so sales is a numbers game, and setting an appointment is no different. By hitting your metrics, you will walk into sales, not talk into sales. You will walk into sales. You don't want to talk yourself into sales. You want to walk into them. Your goal is not to set. Your goal is to set appointments, not to sell solar. When you're setting appointments by phone or at the doors, your goal is not to find people who want to buy solar. The people who are, we call it harder at the door, easier on the floor. The people who have the better credit, who have the money to be able to spend on this, who actually want it, are going to give you a ton of objections. By the time you get inside the house, they already gave all their objections at the door. They buy faster and they buy easier than everybody else. They have credit that they have to protect. They have money they have to protect. The people who are just so excited that you're there, who buy absolutely everything, have a 520 FICO, they can't buy water if they needed it, and they're going to be a waste of your time. Is that every single time? No, right? So don't prejudge, but that's typically what ends up happening. So I want the people who are going to be a little bit harder for me. I want the people who are going to give me no 4 or 5 times before they say yes, because when I go back, they have no more objections to give me. So step number 1, what we have to do is we have to break preoccupation. Breaking preoccupation is simple. We have to get them, we have to start asking them questions, and we do it consecutively. We have to get their attention from what's going on inside their house to what's happening with us here right now. You have to be specific with your questions. 5 seconds in between each part of your pitch, and you break preoccupation, takes 100% focus off of what they're doing and puts it on you. You don't know what's going on outside the house. They could have, they could have been chasing the kids. Kids, peed on the wall. They drew on the wall. They're cooking. Their favorite movie was on. Animals are barking in the background. They're cute little doorbells is what I like to call them, or alarm systems. They could have been working. They could have had a bad day at work. You have no idea what's going on. So don't assume that you know, and just get their attention on you. You ask them a couple of questions. Every salesperson has their own style, and you should use your own personality when doing this. Mention the neighbors that you've worked with and establish yourself as an authority in the neighborhood. This is important. It's one of those social proof things. The other thing that's really good about this is that if you know more people than they do, you're actually the authority in their neighborhood and they're not. And they feel that way. They actually want to speak with you and know why you know more people. Set and control the tone, the pace, and the attitude, and always respond positively. Step 2, who am I? So the pitch is designed to help you anticipate objections, okay? Excuse me. Once you get their attention, they want to know what's going on. They're going to ask, who are you, right? This is what they're going to ask every single time. You knock on the door, you ask, wait, who are you? So we're going to answer before they ask it. It's not important to get their name at this point. You can, depending on your personality and your style. If it's easier just to keep going with the steps, go through it. Whatever feels best and most fluent for you. You give your first and last name to build trust, and you give the full company name. The full company name. Our name has solar in it. We're proud of it. A lot of these other companies don't teach their people to say solar. They just keep having them foot around it, and it's absolutely horrible. Don't do that. And end with yes or no questions. So you're buying more your time. When they respond, you bought the time in order to be able to go on to the next step. So I'm gonna leave this up for a couple seconds so you guys can see it, and write it down if you need to. And we will have just enough time to be able to go through the app. I might steal you guys for like 5-10 minutes if that's okay. So next step is, what am I doing? Right? So now they know who you are, but okay, so what are you doing on my porch, right? Well, this is it. You're buying 10 seconds with every single step. Okay. You refer the neighbors once again. You know exactly what you're doing. Renewable energy or home efficiency. We have different areas. We are 100% right now in renewable energy. We will have some home efficiency in the future. That's why it's in here. But 99% of the time, you're going to be talking about renewable energy. But know what you're doing. Know that part. If they ask for solar, don't lie. Be excited. Tell them yes. Continue and do not skip the rest of the step. Is this solar? Yes, absolutely. Fantastic. And move on. Build value and create interest. 2 concrete social proof examples, and I'll show you guys what we mean by that. And you ask again if they've heard of it or how it works, right? We ask a yes or no question at the very end. This is going to buy us our next 10 seconds. Leave this up for a couple seconds to write those down. You guys, shorthand, I understand. This pitch is available at the moment online. So it is on the document library. These 5 steps are on there as well. The very next phase, and then you set and control the tone and the pace for the rest of the conversation with this step right here. The very next part of it is going to be the deal and the catch. Right. Okay. So what are you getting out of this? Right. They want to know, what do you get out of it? What do I get out of this? Right. So the deal and the catch is simply that. What do you get? What do I get? I always have taught everybody, say the words deal and catch so they know. There's no question about it. What do they get out of it? What do we get out of it? You give them the appearance of the word qualified. You guys are going to see this in the pitch. Our pitch is called the qualifying pitch. We need to see what homes out here qualify for the program, and we're going to teach you how to read it. We say the words qualify. The other thing that we do at the end of our pitch is we say, if the home doesn't qualify, I'm going to call you so you're not sitting around waiting for me. It gives them an appearance of an out, right? Hey, if I don't qualify, the guy's not going to come back. That's fine. Okay. Mention that you're going to come back and teach them how to read the proposal. That's important. Make it clear you need them home. You're going to ask a couple extra questions when you're doing the next step to make sure that they're going to be home during that time and they didn't misinterpret what you're asking. And the other important part of it is don't hesitate. So you jump straight into it, you go through it, and then as soon as you're about to transition, there should be no yes or no question. You are going to start asking either or questions, which is step 5, which is what we're going to talk about next. I'm going to leave this up for about 10 seconds, 15 seconds for you guys to start copying it down. All right. So now we've gone over qualifying. They know we're going to bring back the proposal and teach them how to read it. They know that they may not qualify, so I may call them, which means that I may have to get their phone number. We make it clear we need them home. So the very next question I'm going to ask is not a yes or no. It's an either or. And it's going to create urgency. So if you need to go over this, no cost or obligation. It is very, very clear. We do not charge them to do this. There's no obligation to get it. We get their time. We get their time. They get the information. Yeah, there it is. And then we give the appearance that everyone's doing it. It's not just something that the neighborhood. It's just something that the neighborhood is doing and that they should do too, right? So hey, we're just checking to see which homes qualify. If it qualifies, I'm going to come back. I'm going to teach you how to read this thing. And then you go to transition to the appointment, which the very next step is either or questions. As soon as they finish stating the deal, you don't pause, you don't transition, you don't pause. Your transition is the question in this one. And we do it very simply. What day works best for you? Now, I tell everybody to be animated because that's how I am and it works for me. It works. So do not have your phones in your pocket. Keep them in your hands when you're out on doors. One of the reasons for this is so that you don't give the appearance that you're hiding anything. First question that we're going to ask them, and we just went through everything else. Hey, we're going to come back, teach you how to read it. If it doesn't qualify, then I'm going to call you so you're not sitting around waiting for me all day. What day works better for you? I have my phone out and I go to point. It is a very awkward thing to be standing like this, but it lets them know I'm about to make an action. Back at Kirby, what we used to do is wipe your feet and take a peek. We literally used to put our heads straight down, point big at the floors, and wipe our feet like we're a bull in a china shop about to wreck everything. That lets them know that I'm coming in the house, right? We do the same thing. I'm going to set this appointment. So we point, elbow up in the air, finger at the phone. Then after they answer that, morning, afternoon, or evening. Now we're doing a funnel. We're asking broad and we're narrowing it down. Always starting with what day works better for you, tomorrow or the day after. People have short attention spans. If you have an appointment set within 24 to 48 hours, the likelihood of them being home increases and your metrics actually change. If you set it for anything outside of 48 hours, the chances of them being home goes down. Does it mean that they won't be home? No, but we try to get them within the next 24 to 48 hours of having that appointment set. Then you give them a couple of times. Now, keep your eyes on the tablet. Okay, keep your eyes on the phone. Your finger's still pointing. You're still punching stuff in, and you're actually putting this into the app. What's the best email for me to send you my contact information? General information about the company. Don't look up. Okay. Like I said, I'll call you if the home doesn't qualify. What's the best number? Yours or your spouse's? Either or question. Don't look up. You keep staring at your phone. How do you spell your last name? You're almost there. Eyes down. Just pretend you're scrolling on Instagram and you found something you liked and you're watching it, right? And do me a favor, grab me a copy of your electric bill, and I'll send the invite out to you right now. Now, you're giving them a direction. They're going to go do it. This is where you look up because you're giving them a direction, and you look them directly in the eyes, you smile, and you nod your head. Do me a real quick favor, grab me a copy of that electric bill while I send out this invite to you. And then you actually send out the invite to them. We do it automatically as soon as you click appointment set and you put their email in there. Okay, so an important reminder, if you can't get the electric bill at the door, that's okay. If you can't get the electric bill on the phone, that's okay. You must get something from them. It's a commitment. So you ask them a couple things, write these down. What's the highest bill you get throughout the year? What's the lowest bill you get throughout the year? How much would you say you pay on average based on that? And then I'll get the qualification started on that. And then you can email me the bill later. We send out the calendar invite and we send out an email that has a link for them to click so they can upload their bill directly into the portal. This way the proposal can be made. So if you can't get it at the door, that's okay. We're going to send it out. If we do get it, hey, just so you know, there's still going to be a spot in here where it's going to say that if you didn't upload your electric bill, but I already got it. So don't worry about sending it again. I already got it and I uploaded it for you. Okay. So you want to get their highest bill that they pay throughout the year. You want to get their lowest bill. Some people are going to say, oh, my average is like $400. Well, that could be during the summer. What's their lowest bill? Great. So what's your highest bill in the summer then? It's like 400. Oh, okay. What's your lowest bill? Oh, you know, my lowest bill is like 120. Okay, fantastic. So what do you say your average bill is then? Like you pay throughout the entire year? Oh, probably about $200. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Let me go ahead and get this sent off this way. And then do me a favor. I'm going to go ahead and send this off, this email to you. And then you can actually click that link later and you can upload it before I come back. Fantastic. If they don't have it, they don't send it, we're still going to build a proposal based off the information that they gave us. You can get it when you're inside the house. Here's a copy of the pitch. I'm going to do it just the way I do it on doors. Hey, don't mean to be bugging you. I'm sure the neighbors told you I'd be stopping by with SPP, right? Do you know Bob and Mary or Jane and Doe over there? Yeah, no, perfect. So now you do. I'm Chris Cole. I'm with Solar Panel Pro. I'm with that company that's doing the renewable energy stuff out here in your neighborhood. Have you heard of us yet? No, you haven't? Well, that's great. That's exactly why I stopped by. So there's a couple of folks out here we've been helping with the renewable energy program for your neighborhood. We've been out with the neighborhood for the past couple of weeks. Some of the neighbors have been saving up to like $100 off their electric bills, and others have been getting between $5,000 and $10,000 back in tax credits. Have you heard of these programs before? Or have you heard how these work yet? No? Awesome. Well, here's the catch. Okay, not all homes qualify. We're checking to see which homes qualify for the program, and we do that at no cost or obligation to see if your home qualifies. I'm just going to take a picture of that graph that's on your electric bill right there on the bottom, and I'm going to send it off to my consultants. And if the home does qualify, I'm going to come back and teach you how to read the information, or I'm going to bring back the information and teach you how to read it in the next couple of days. If it doesn't, I'm going to call you so you're not sitting around waiting for me. So which works better for you? Which day works better for you, tomorrow or Friday? Okay, great. Morning, afternoon, or evening? Fantastic. Great. And perfect. So afternoon, I have a 2:30 and a 3 o'clock. And sorry, I have a 1 and a 3 o'clock. Perfect. 3 o'clock works best. Fantastic. And how do you spell your last name? Great. And I'm going to send you some general information about who we are as a company, so you do some research on us. What's the best email to send that to? Perfect. Thank you. And then is it going to be your number or your spouse's number that I should call in case the home doesn't qualify? Perfect. Great. And it's 520? No. 467. Great. Fantastic. Great. I got that in there. Do me a quick favor. I'm going to go ahead and send off this calendar invite to you. Do me a favor and go grab me a copy of that electric bill, and I'll get this sent off while you do that. That's how we do it. That's how we set appointments. That's how we knock doors. It is super simple. It is not easy. It is super simple. There is a copy of this pitch downloadable on the document center. Feel free to go there, download it, read it as many times as you want. I do recommend that you guys go ahead and print it out and just read it at the doors until you guys know what you're saying and how you're saying it. There's no shame in it. Be new. It's good that you're new. That means that you can't sell them anything. They know that you can't sell them anything, and they're not afraid of you selling them anything. So go ahead and do it. Be new. So the pro tips, body stance and posture are important. Stand with your body slightly sideways, just like this, so the customer can see your screen and watch you as you're going through your steps. Do not put your hands in your pockets or behind your back, it gives the appearance that you're hiding something. Be animated, use gestures. Like I was telling the guys this morning, like sometimes like just for fun, it's like, oh, you know that customer right over there. I like to have fun with it. Take 3 steps back from the door and allow them space when you answer the door. As soon as you knock on it, like I said, take a couple steps back, turn sideways, start waving, and then you turn back when they respond to you. Don't peek through windows. Don't be a creep. Voice tone and pace creates confidence in what you're saying with the right tone. Start sentences with a low tone, and raising your voice to high tones creates uncertainty in your voice and sounds like you're asking questions. Starting at a high tone and ending at a low tone starts displaying confidence and can help build natural enthusiasm. Being slow and deliberate with a smile and know what you're going to say. And then mentality, work the hours, positive attitudes, know your goals, and it doesn't happen until it happens, right? Work the hours, don't work the doors. Don't work your goals. I promise you, work the hours. Because if you have a goal to set 3 appointments, you do that your first hour, and you wanted to actually work 6 hours that day, make your goal to work the 6 hours. Just watch how many more appointments you get and how different your day goes. Treat it like an every other 40-hour work job that you had, but you're going to make 10 times the amount of money that you thought you ever could with that job. All right. Work the hours. Okay. You can end up working a lot less hours and making a lot more money, but it takes time and it takes consistency in order to do that. So we don't have time to go through objection handling today. I didn't think that we would. Let me hop onto my phone real quick. So it's going to exit. I have to mute this. So bear.
I don't think it's up for us yet. This is all new.
All right. So mute that. I am currently on my phone and I'm going to show up as just Zoom user, I think. You guys can see my pretty little green screen in the back. I'm going to share my content screen. And Sunbase. Can you guys, we can't see my screen yet. All right, here's the app, guys. So right when you open it up, so we just got this thing set up today. We have a lot of stuff that we're going to be adding to the app. So keep an eye on that, and we're going to announce it as we go. You guys can create tasks for yourself in this. You can check in and check out right here at the very top so that you can actually, count your hours and know what you are doing throughout the day and the hours that you're doing it. You'll have tasks. If we assign tasks for you, you can go to your task board and see what those are. So if you have a customer that needs communications, you guys can go to your task board. You'll see it right there as soon as you log into your app. And then you can have your calendar. As soon as there are events on there, you'll be able to see right here in this empty spot what's on your calendar right then and there, so you can start scheduling your day. When you go to your menu, there's going to be a lot of stuff on here that I can see that you can't, like admin and HR. But when you go to sales and you click on canvassing, you can, I got to assign you guys areas. I'm going to do that tonight. You can jump into an area and start setting appointments. So you'll be able to put it where you're at. Sorry about that. You'll be able to put it to where you're at, and you could do a bunch of stuff. So right here, a new lead would be like you talk to the babysitter and they're not home. Interested would be great, but you have to go back to it. So that's kind of like a go back. Not interested, you drop it as a not interested. Not home, not home. Has solar. So like this one, I click on the has, you see it highlighted, and I click on the house. It brings up the address. If I click on that dot, I can see it's 579 West Monterey Street, and it's linked as has. If I did it by accident, I can click on delete lead. If I go over here, let's say I'm over here on this street now. and I have a not home or a has, or I have a renter, or when I sold the system, I can change that to sold. You don't have to drop a pin on the solds. You're able to see that and you're able to change it once you created it. But let's say you have a customer, you're knocking the door and you set the appointment. I'm going to click on my set and I'm going to click on the house. It's going to automatically populate the address and you can put in the customer name. So this will be Johnny Test. And I'm going to put in their phone number. And I'm going to see all their information here. You can literally, this is what you're doing. What day works better for you, tomorrow or the day after? You can scroll here and set that time, set the date. Tomorrow, fantastic. What time? And you give the time and you can put in the times just like doing this. Then after you do that, you can start putting in notes. You can get their email address and all that other stuff and put it right here inside the notes and click save. And if you want to access it again, you can click on the lead itself and then you can click on open lead or edit record. If I open the lead, I see all the information. I can type his email address. So you put in the email address after you click save, or you can edit the lead right then and there when you're doing it. Okay. You can change the lead status. You can change the source, that it was a personal lead identifier, who it is. If you're a setter and you're assigning it, what the appointment time and date is, follow-up comments, appointment comments, the annual kilowatt hour consumption, the number of stories on the roof, the average utility. So I put it right there for you guys. So if you need to get the average utility, you can still put the other stuff inside the notes. So customer says, high bill in summer is this, low bill is this. They think they pay this on average. This is where you put all those notes to help you and to help us create the proposal. It is important. It is absolutely required that you do that. If they're interested in a battery, you can put it right there. If they have, this will be more for down the road. It's like, oh, I want solar AC. I am doing, some of this other stuff's going to be going away, but we keep some of the stuff like, hey, I was thinking about generators. I want an energy evaluation. I want solar AC. I want service. I'm adding a pool pump. I'm doing all these things. You guys can check mark those and add it so that we can see it. You can click on the attachments, click add, and you can put the label. So you can put utility bill, the type, utility bill, click on choose, and you can take a picture right there by photo library or take photo and video, and then you'll be able to save it, upload it. So let's just go ahead and grab this guy, choose, take photo or video. I'm going to take the photo, use photo, hit attached, and I'm going to upload. Whoops. This is for multiple. Sorry. Save. Should save. Phone's frozen. There we go. There we go. Trying to open other stuff. And then save with the big save icon right at the top left-hand corner. X cancels it out. It's attached. You're good to go. You can go see your leads, which are, he's right here. You can see all your opportunities right there. If you want to add a customer like on the phone or something like that, you can do that as well. You can just hop in leads and you can just click the big plus button at the bottom right-hand corner and you have the same information. You can do it all right there. You do not have to be on doors to be able to add leads. You can be on phone or sitting with somebody at a restaurant and you can access and create all your leads just by doing that. And you can sort them the same way. This is how you access all of your personal information right here. With the company, you'll be able to, like I have my nice little lion, that is my thing. You'll be able to change that stuff. There's fun stuff you guys can do inside of this when you're on the web app and not just on the app itself. The app is called Sun-Based Data, all one word. So I want you guys to remember that. So if you go to your app store, you put in Sun-Based Data just like this. It pops up and it'll be the only one that pops up. You guys will get a link to be able to create there'll be a temporary password created for you. And then until you go into your settings and you change it, that will be your password. So go in your settings and you change it. So download that. That'll be your CRM. First things you're going to be getting before tomorrow morning, you should get them sometime around 9 to 10 a.m. You're going to be getting a email from Google welcoming you to the Titan Solar Panel Pro email. So you can log in, use your email. In that email, once you set up your password, you can use it in your app just like you would a normal Gmail. Okay, it's literally a normal Gmail. The difference is when you log into it, you have to put the front part of it, and then you put at TitanSolarPanelPro.com. Okay. It's always going to be typically, unless there's two of you with the same first initial of the first name and then last name, that's typically what it's going to be. First initial of your first name and your last name at TitanSolarPanelPro.com. There are multiple domains. I may just change it to TitanSPP.com, so it's easier for you guys to say. But people can email you at TitanSPP.com, at TitanSolarPanelPro.com, at SolarPanelPro.com, at Titan Solar Panel or TitanSolarPower.pro. All those will go to your same inbox. So you're going to have multiple email aliases so that people, if you have a difficult sounding name, if they misspell it, I'm going to put a couple of misspellings the way that I would do it because I'm master at that. That way it gets to you. Okay. So we do all that stuff for you guys so we can make sure that you're capturing as many of those emails that are coming into you as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and end my Zoom here. And then I am unmuted here. So that is it for the day, guys. I know it's a brief run through, but it's a pretty self-explanatory app, pretty simple, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just click on the menu, click on sales, click on canvassing, or click on leads and add it there. When you are canvassing, you are required to drop a pin at every single house. You don't have to write notes in every single not answer and every single not interested. It helps you to go back in the future because you might put not interested, but they're going to be interested in the future, and you set a follow-up. Put your notes, okay? But when you're out there, just drop not interested. So you know to come back later, right? Not home, not home, not home, not home, not home. Interested, got a set, not home, not interested, got a set, not interested, has solar. And you can take a look at that later in your territory and see like, okay, cool. I knocked 3 streets and I didn't talk to any of these people at this time of day. I'm going to go hit them at 5 to 6 o'clock instead of knocking them at 11 or 12. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Waiting for somebody to say yeah.
Yes.
Anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I got all night. I got
Can you hear me?
Are we not?
Can you hear me?
You doing uncomfortable silences here, guys?
Can you hear me?
We're here, Chris.
It's you.
Am I muted? I was muted. My bad.
Yeah, dude, we all saying yes.
Oh yes, I had to mute myself because I had the echo. I completely forgot.
Perfect.
Yeah, very self-explanatory app. If you need help with it, I will help you guys out. You guys have my cell phone number. My email's simple. It's chris@solarpanelpro.com or chris@titanspp.com or chris at whatever you want to put behind it. I probably has it as an alias. chris@titansolarpower.pro. You can email me at any of those, chris@solarpanelpro.com. Ask me your questions. I'll help you out. Text me. I'll help you out. If you're on doors and you need help, text me, call me. I will help you out. But you guys have full authority to start setting some appointments. You are not allowed to run an appointment until Saturday afternoon after 9 a.m. after you pass your certification. You will get a certification email with a test in it with 25 questions. You'll answer those questions. You'll get a test result back within a few minutes, and you'll be certified. And then you can go out and you can actually deliver the proposals. So set as many as you want. Our average right now, 30% of people who come out of training sell on their first day from setting appointments from Wednesday forward. They start setting appointments for Saturday afternoon. They run 3 or 4, and they're going to end up selling one of those. The remaining 63% typically sell within 10 days after finishing their training. So my goal would be if I was in your guys' shoes, to set as many appointments as possible, ask for as much help as possible, and just get cranking. Get leads, ask for referrals, knock on doors, set up your funnels, do all these things so that you're in the top 37%, because you want to make a check next Friday, you sell something on Saturday. We will help you sell something on Saturday too, because I want you guys to have a check in your account next Friday. So we are transitioning from paychecks to ADP. I love ADP. If you don't have a bank account, we can get you a pay card. That is actually being set up. So you guys will get direct deposit forms before the first paycheck to be filled out. It should be on Tuesday. They have to be turned in by Wednesday in order for it to be able to count towards commissions. Otherwise, we'll have to mail you your check. But it usually comes, ADP is pretty awesome. No matter where we're at in territories, we can usually get it to you on Friday when everybody else is getting their direct deposits. We don't like to do that because mail can be slow. And sometimes if you're in an area where ADP doesn't typically cover, they have to mail you the check and it takes up to 72 hours. So pay card or direct deposit are really the only two options. It is a worst case scenario, and you better be in a special circumstance and talk to your manager if you can't use one of those and you need a paper check. Okay. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys. I know I stole you for 10 extra minutes, but I hope that it was a solid 10 extra minutes. 30 seconds of that, my mistake. But yeah, questions, concerns, grunts, gripes, moans?
No, I think we're good.
All right, I am going to drop tomorrow's Zoom link in here just in case there's an issue. I will keep the Zoom open for a few minutes so you guys have access to it. Copying it now. We have had so many issues with Zoom. We might move over to Google Meet here in the near future. We had 10 people who couldn't access our Zoom link earlier today. That is for you. Copy paste that. That's tomorrow's. And I'll do the same thing tomorrow night for Fridays if you don't have it. So copy paste that. Go add it as a calendar event. Same time tomorrow. Same time, same place. Tomorrow's gonna be fun. We're gonna go over handling objections at the doors. Quick, simple for you guys. They don't know enough to say no. Just agree with them. Yeah, you're right. You're not interested. What day? I'm gonna bring you back the information so I can teach you. So you can call me back when you are interested. What day works better for you? They don't know enough. They don't have the information. They want the information. Great. So you want me to leave you the information so you can call me back when you're ready? Fantastic. What day works better for me to bring back that information to you and teach you how to read it? Because that's how I get paid. Tomorrow or on Friday, right? Do it with more enthusiasm, but that's typically what overcoming objections is. You guys will see it in full force tomorrow. It'll be a lot of fun. It should be sent out tomorrow. I sent it out to, I put in the request for you guys the stuff to be done today. Go ahead and yeah, you will need the company email in order to be able to access, because you're going to be logging in with your company email. So that will be sent out by tomorrow. You should have it in your inbox by 10 a.m. We have multiple training classes running right now. So because of that, these guys get backed up, and because we're running it late, they didn't get a chance to get everybody, but they will get them done first thing in the morning. So everybody will have one tomorrow. And as long as your managers have sent me your guys' initial contact information and your email addresses, I can make sure that those get sent out to you again. The app, I'm going to put it in here. Sun-based data is the app. You're welcome. But yeah, so I'm going to have the managers make sure that they send the email addresses. And if they didn't, we should have everybody's here, but do me a favor, just to make it easy. I want everybody to email me. I'm putting it in the chat, chris@solarpanelpro.com. Just email me with your first and last name as the subject line. I think that'll be easiest, just so I can make sure personally that those are going in. All right, so chris@solarpanelpro.com. Shoot me an email, put your full first and last name in the subject line. That way I can make sure that I'll send it off tonight, just in case the manager forgot. Okay. Other than that, that's it, guys. Feel free to log off whenever you want. Have a great night. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Good night, Ron. Good job.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.